Ooh, what's happening, guys? Welcome to another eclectic edition of PWT Live Show. Yeah.
This is great.
I am your host, Phil Marks. Guys, I have a new mic setup. Let me know if I'm too, just let me know. I hope you guys hear me all good and all of that. I don't know, my mic crapped out or my cord crapped out or something. I don't know. And I didn't want to configure it all. So I rushed. I got a new mic, but then I had to shift some podcasts around. So I didn't get you guys the regular RSS feed PWT podcast episode 64, which is coming soon, I assure you. I got cool guests coming on, and I got some recurring people that, Awful, who will be here later tonight. I got him on like a pre-recorded pod we're going to do where we're going to dive more into like his book and all of that. Paul Nolan, of course, is going to come back on the show in about probably, I'd say, like a few weeks. And me and Marv are doing one just like for the RSS feed. These are RSS feed shows I'm talking about, not live shows. Speaking of Marv, I was just over on Toonie Talk TV, not Toonie Talk Wrestling, but Toonie Talk TV, where if you guys want to hear your boy Phil Marks talk about stuff that isn't just pro wrestling, we're talking Star Wars, we're talking the Mario movie, Universal Studios, just nerd stuff, stuff more. I work in the entertainment biz a little bit, so it's just another side of me you guys can see over there, and I like to appear on there. So we did that live show, and then right after that I just jumped right live into this. So this is fun. I like doing it. It's like a block of television or viewing, if you guys will. As everybody files in, make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit the subscribe if you haven't. We're trying to get to 4K subscribers on this channel at Pro Wrestle Clips. And then over at prowrestletimes, which is the long form channel, I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subs there. So even if you guys don't want to watch these live streams or the podcast in long form and you prefer the clips, just still go subscribe to that other channel because it's just a great way to support everything I'm doing. And since I missed an RSS feed regular live show, I'm going to shout out the Tribal Chiefs, Scully Vibes, Andre Adams, the God King Bob, Gilgamesh, LK, Sask Prophet, Peter JT, Chris Benoit, Jamie Earhart, Cruz Madrid, Derek Hans, Leah McBlain, Eric Galperin, Ninja Boy. Those are the Tribal Chiefs. Shout you guys out. Appreciate you very much. Let me give you one of these. And yeah, Dynamite's about to start. We're going to do a Dynamite watch along. I started this, 5 or so minutes early just so we could let everyone file in before Dynamite starts. As you can tell from the title, we got some Will Ospreay stuff to talk about. MJF's supposed to be back tonight. And yeah, I don't know. We're gonna go through Phil Marks bookmarks, as it were, as we do. Make sure you're hitting that like as you file in, and consider becoming a member. So guys, I have a new layout of what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna record pods Monday. I'm gonna do Patreon content Tuesday. Wednesdays I'm gonna go live. Thursdays I'm going to do a members only show. Friday, I'm just going to upload, like you'll just see like a usual video or whatever up on the channel. Saturday, live show. Sunday, just another regular day where I'll clip something and put it up on the channel. So yeah, my weeks are going to be laid out like that. So consider becoming a member. I think it's like 99 cents Canadian. Join up, become a member. And if you become a Tribal Chief, you get shouted out on the pre-recorded podcast / the live show. So now, as everyone's filed in, make sure you hit that like. Dynamite's on the air. MJF is coming out. Guys, how does the new mic sound? Does it sound all good? Am I too loud? Are my P's too poppy? What's going on? Give me some feedback on that, because I had to we hear you good. Excellent. I try and show all the member chats on the screen. And guys, everybody who's if you comment, like a lot of the day ones, they're used to me responding to every comment under every video. I can no longer do that. There's too many of you guys. And so that's a good thing. Round of applause for the PWT universe. and hop in the Discord, and don't get frustrated with me if you guys don't see me in the comments under the YouTube video. There's so many of you now. We're blowing up so big. And shout out Pro Wrestling Bits, Alfred Konua. We're going to watch his video in a bit. He shouted me out along a list of names that I have no business being in the same breath as. We're going to watch that video. And Triple MJF is here right now. And let's turn this up. They're in Colorado, so they're smoking that Perry pack in Minecraft. Phil humble bragging. What am I humble bragging about? You're 20. Why the F are you napping? I don't know if you're talking about me, but I'm not 20. Can you guys hear it, though? This should be better. This should be better for the live streams.
I'm sitting on my beautiful couch in my palatial estate in the most magical place in the world, Long Island, New York. UBS forbidden to Long Island.
My followers, no, I'm trying to grow the channel, bro. We're trying to grow. I got to shout you guys out. You guys are the best.
So I'm sitting at home, you know, and I'm watching a bunch of children make a ton of bold claims on my show.
Okay. Hear that, but I'm trying to. I think this mic's a little better for picking up the tube as well.
The Rainmaker. Making a lot of money there. Hey, Chief, that's interesting because.
Oh my God!
Seems pretty apparent to me that
Just had a soda water explode all over me. MJF body shaming Okada. Shout out Okada. Now he's trashing Swerve.
He was claiming he was the leader of the Mogul Embassy. Hell, the leader, pal, your entire group turned on you and whooped you. But that's not the part that offended me, folks. It's not. The part that offended me, Swerve, was you referring to yourself as a business mogul? Interesting.
I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman.
Moguls tend to go to business school. And if you did, I guess you must have skipped your public speaking course.
MJF just ripped him, said you suck at public speaking and businessmen go to business school. That's cringe as fuck. Not even 10 minutes deep, I'm already cussing. God. He just called someone a cockhead.
Oi, I'm the best in the world, bro.
Yes, cook Ospreay. We're going to cook Ospreay.
It's a great word. So,
Bruv, they're chanting. It's a great word. John JID for $2 is MJF a heel or babyface? It's confusing me. Yeah, it's confusing everybody. Nobody, they just shouted out Cody Rhodes.
You ain't Adam Cole, you ain't Hiroshi Tanahashi. But you know who managed to beat
Can't go one fucking show without bringing up Cody Rhodes, man. Yeah, John, I don't know. Round of applause. Thank you so much for the super chat. Sorry, I'm listening to MJF right now, bro. And he just stole LA Knight's gimmick. MJF, yeah. Thanks, man. I have no idea, though. It's confusing. Like, is he a heel or babyface? I don't know.
Watch your tone and check your mouth. Because, silly Billy, you ain't the best in the world, bruv. A guy who did the impossible in 5 short years of national television exposure. I became the man, the face.
God, it's just...
AEW.
It's all good that, like, they talk this shit and everything, but, like, achieve something in fucking wrestling, but besides just Wembley, before we talk this shit.
I became the most hated man walking this planet, only to become the most beloved.
MJF, yeah, Scully vibes for $2. MJF, yeah, exactly. Here, we'll drop him a fucking let's do it.
Yeah. The audacity to try to smear my name?
I don't know. It's just more of the same. Like when they
trying to revise my history, revise my legacy,
like
revise my name.
People spend more time in developmental than MJF spent on the main roster of a wrestling fucking show. You know what I mean? My history, my legacy. You're not even 30 yet, bro. Like, can everyone chill? Jesus, accomplish some shit. At least Rush is out here. Rush will beat the shit out of people, dude. I like Rush, guys. I ain't shitting on Rush here. This is cringe. Thanks for the super chat. Yeah, hopefully it gets better. We got Roosh here. Rush is like a glorified jobber. Roosh in AEW. That's how Tony views him. Doesn't know how to book luchas. Doesn't know how to book women. We know.
Where's my celebration?
Where's my celebration?
Where's my big moment? Where's my big moment?
They're wetting him. I hope you guys can hear my TV through it. This mic setup is a little better now that I got. It was like a blessing in disguise that my lash stuff crapped out on me. Oh yeah, I could watch that on repeat, dude. Where's my big moment? So everyone in the locker room. Yeah, I saw a video of like Cutler and Cabana are a tag team. Yeah, I see Zinny Boys in the chat too. Zinny Boys. I don't even use those things every day, just once in a while. Use them. Oh, he said shit. Oh, it's so badass. It's such a badass thing to say shit.
Dry, Roosh. Like every woman you've ever slept with.
Oh.
I took it too far. I took it way too far. Hear me out. Hear me out, okay? I'm not going to stand here and pretend.
That was pretty crazy to say that.
At one point in time, I paid you an exorbitant amount of money to take out Bryan Danielson. I know how talented you are. You come from wrestling royalty. Your father is a lucha libre legend. Now, granted, some might call you a nepo baby for that. Not me, not
me. Jesus. It's time for some HLA. Yeah.
Would you prove that's not the case? You sold out, I'm getting serious now. You sold out arena after arena in Mexico. You proved you were an international superstar. You came to the U.S. and in record.
You guys hear that? I'm playing with the soundboard while I'm trying to.
And you managed to bludgeon some of the best this sport has to offer.
Oh, come on, dude.
But here's the problem, Roosh. I ain't one of the best.
And here's the problem, right? MJF has to explain everything Roosh has done because no one knows what he's done here. Like, how about show us? Not even play a package. I guess that's a fail too, but it's just.
Nothing gets lost in translation. So here goes it.
Yo, he just said chinga tu madre to him. If you don't know what chinga tu madre means, look it up. But it's like MJF's a tweeter, and then Roosh is healing on him, but then MJF put over all of his accolades and how badass he is and how he's took the best to the limit. So they're all tweeners. You know what I mean? It's just terrible.
I mean, he has a temper that sometimes is out of control. MJF returned the favor right there. MJF's temper, that's
Here, I'll put the you guys are just sitting here staring at nothing as well. Let me put the card on the screen here. Yeah, so I don't know, opening segment, guys. How do you guys feel about that opening segment there? Here, I'll get Phil Mark's bookmarks pulled up here. How do you guys feel about that opening segment? I think good, like, attempt to get heat and garner some heat. You know what I mean? MJF's okay on the mic. We're kind of making fun of him. He's mini Triple H. Roosh is a good, solid competitor, but, like, they haven't. It's like they haven't. Yeah. We've got some good folk joining us tonight as well. You guys will see as the show progresses. You already know how it is here at PWT Live Show. So I think we've got Kyle O'Reilly here. Who is this? Is this O'Reilly? All by myself. Here, I'll share the card with you guys. So this is what we have to look forward to tonight, folks. Phil Marks, bookmarks. Yeah, I see. Okay. No messages are showing. Good. Again. Good. Guys, yeah, so hit that like, hit that subscribe if you haven't, if you're just tuning in. Let's get up to 69 likes at least. We're at 29, so we need 40 more. There's like 90 to 100 of you in here, fluctuating. So let's get that going. And again, guys, like, we're trying to get these subs up to 4K. So if you're not subbed, hit sub. And also, so Roderick Strong just gets a world title shot. So Roderick Strong just gets a world title shot.
Yeah.
What? Chad, explain this to me. And yeah, at Pro Wrestle Times, the long form channel, just go and subscribe there. Even if you don't consume the content, just hit the subscribe button, please. Because there's a lot of people who consume the content over there in that form and prefer that over clips. But even if you prefer the clips, just go at least hit subscribe and then just ignore the channel if you want. It just helps me a lot. It's a free way to support. You know what I mean? Here comes Dark Orange Cassidy wearing his darker blue jean. Andre Adams for $2 says, Roddy's glasses say I touch people inappropriately.
Cornette.
Oh, man. Yeah. Roddy Strong used to be hired here, you know. I brought him a kitten from my private plane. Just don't check our text messages. That bit's never going to get old. I'm going to beat it to death. So, thank you so much for the super chat, Andre Adams. You're the king of roast in the chat, I must say. So, guys, this is a four-way match. The winner gets a shot at Ospreay's international title. And then we have Roderick Strong just randomly, who lost the international title, randomly gets a world title shot against Swerve Strickland tonight in the main event. Is that what I'm getting right? Is that what I'm understanding correctly here? I think my mouse just died on me here. I believe the story is that because he didn't get a chance to go out in the gauntlet, he gets us. That's the fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard in my fucking life. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. And then Jay Lethal's out here. What the fuck has he done to... Like, I'm not too picky about that. It's like, okay, this is his shot, right? He got an opportunity. Like, it happens sometimes. Even in UFC, you're like, why the fuck is this guy fighting this guy? But it's just... Women's College World Series is now my viewing pleasure. This booking, so it really is, man. I'm trying. Here we go. It's Jay Lethal. Sanjay Dutt's cringy ass needs to get... Sanjay Dutt's cringy, yeah, bro, as the kids say. Oh, man. Couldn't care less about this. Yeah. My mouse is dead, guys, so if I'm a little slow on the clickings of things, don't blame me. Or blame me for being stupid and not charging up my mouse. See, I'm trying to click the dummy, but it's taking...
Dummy, yeah.
It's great. This is great. Oh, man. Ray Phoenix. Shut him out. I'm down. I'm down with Ray Phoenix. So which nation is everyone from? 2 Americans, a Mexican, and a Canadian. So North American. The North American international title match. I'm going to go, there should be no Americans involved in this division. There's your chance to, like every other division has all American champions. I'm just speaking purely from, we're trying to do sports, right, guys? We're doing play-by-play, folks. Has there even been a commercial break yet? Or have they just gone right through? Chat, am I tripping out here? Because I wanted to dive into some Phil Marks bookmark stuff, but I don't think there's been a commercial yet. 93 of you watching now. Make sure you hit that like, please, if you don't mind. Let's get to at least 69, then I'll bug you guys some more. There's been no breaks yet. Thank you. Thank you.
Switch to the other side. You don't see that done much. Very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate on Americans. Chat saying he's from there's always the acolyte. LK, were you over there on Toonie Talk TV? That was fun, man. I enjoyed doing that with Marv. So here we got hands in pockets, drop kicks, people selling for the hands in the pockets. Man, Phoenix is so impressive, dude. Wow. Where's Crispin? I don't know, man. Crispin, the thing with Crispin, he's not like a wrestling fan, so I didn't expect him to last long. As far as moderating and stuff, so he just hasn't been around. He's busy with other stuff. I don't blame him. You know what I mean? So he's doing his thing. Here we go, Jay Lethal. I like to see Lethal get more opportunities. I thought he would be a real game changer, if you will, for AEW, but nah. Okay. We're seeing some spots. They both power up, double head kick. Okay, that was pretty cheesy, I won't lie. That was kind of cheesy. I'm not gonna like full-blown hate on it, but it's a Jedi Master gets killed with a kitchen knife. Is that what happened? I don't. Now I'm definitely not watching that shit. Yeah, and so eventually Marv's going to launch his other channel there as well. So that show that is that TV show where we're talking about Star Wars and shit, that's going to be like its own thing eventually.
I think it would be a smart move, Taz. Back me up on this, if you will. It'd be a smart move to keep a couple of guys out. So
yeah, make sure you check that out. I enjoy that. 101 of you in here. Make sure you hit that like, guys. If you're coming to hang out, make sure you hit that like. Here we go. So now they're doing like fatal four-way spots. It's indie-rific. We had good, well, not good, but we had an attempt at storytelling at the start. I wasn't like the biggest fan, though. I'm not as a usually I'm like, oh, B+, great strong start, but I'm not there, you know. So far we're at like a C. And joining us on the show, ladies and gentlemen, your friend and mine and ours, all of ours. You know his name. He needs his own theme music for when he joins Awful. We're going to work on that, but I just stooged it. I stepped on my own wiener. Here is Awful Wrestling. Round of applause. Awful, how are you doing this fine Wednesday Eve?
Better than fucking MJF and his terrible goddamn promo. That was awful.
Now, Awful, before you go in on what you did not like about that, let me ask you two questions. One, how does my mic sound? I have a new mic setup going, and I want your opinion. How does it sound? Am I coming through loud and clear?
Yeah, you sound all right for a geek.
Okay, that's good. Maybe my more natural voice. I am a big fellow. So now I want your opinions on that, but also, are you able to hear the program, to steal Pat McAfee's bit? Can you hear my television better than my other mic?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's a positive.
We're going to be going by your television, not mine.
The heavy but low voice is coming through, and we have a little bit more crispiness on the tube. This is a good thing. Also joining us on the show right now, two-time Grammy Award winner Marty McFlyer. Then you.
Hello, what's good?
Marty, what's happening, bud?
Man, adulting.
Are you watching Dynamite tonight on this fine Wednesday Eve?
Yeah, I'll be tapping in. I have it on good authority to watch tonight.
Okay, to watch tonight. Okay, in comes and the chat's lighting up now. What can I say, man? The people love you guys. So Awful, give me your thoughts on because you came in hot, man, and the chat's saying, yo, Awful coming in hot. What was your thoughts on that opening promo segment? You know me, I'm very optimistic, and I'm always like putting it over, and I'm like, we started strong, a B+, and you're always like, come on, Phil. So I'm not starting that strong. I'd give that like a C+. I like the players they're using, but there was a lot I pointed out negative about it. I already said my piece, so I want your thoughts on that opening segment, Awful.
See how he dressed when he came down to the ring? Just the leather jacket. That's what he should have looked like at the
Triple MJF.
Yes, he should look like that at the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Secondly, he shilled right off the bat, and it doesn't make it any cooler for him to tell us that he's shilling, if that makes any sense. Like, it didn't work. He's back to being mid-card MJF, in my view. Like, there was nothing that showed me that he's a main eventer in any sort of way. Oh, just because you roll called everybody, that's going to bring you back? I don't think so, my friend. And then Rush coming out, I mean, I don't know, little light on the audience participation. Sounded very quiet in there for when Rush came out there, and I'm looking at a big dip for tomorrow. Even though it was MJF.
Are you not a fan of?
Oh boy,
of
MJF?
Rush. Of Rush.
No. I mean, give me more of Rush, so that it's justified in this feud with MJF. This came out of nowhere. Did Rush injure MJF?
No.
Well, there you have it. I mean,
and they're both kind of tweeners, to be honest.
Yeah. So way to start the show.
Yeah, and Marty, man, I was gonna say, man, you got some lady fans in the chat here.
It's probably my wife.
Shout her out. Shout out Mrs. McFlyer.
Shout out wifey. She's actually at the gym right now, but she's tuning in. She tunes in regularly.
Good. Nice. That's good. That's good, man. But Marty, how did you feel, or did you catch the intro?
I caught it. I ran it back because it actually aired in real time. So I've been watching it. I mean, my first thing is I agree with Awful. This is mid-card. This is mid-card MJF all over again. It's just that it's all the inside baseball jokes that just isn't. It wasn't funny when the Bucks did it. It was corny when he did it. It wasn't until he kind of started showing actual personality that he started to get over. And I think he's been away too long that we've all gotten used to the mediocrity. That it's getting. he's hedging his bet to like that old wagon, but you know, everybody's kind of, even though it's mediocre, we've kind of driven away from that. Like he's trying to play catch up, and then the shilling. Yeah, I agree. It's not cool. It's not funny. It's corny as fuck. And then with Roosh, it's just it pains me to see him wasted. It pains me to see him wasted. Like they dropped the ball with Dragon Lee, and even now, I'd still say he's doing better than his brother's doing. It's just with Roosh, there's so much potential. I think even more potential that there was with Andrade, but. We're giving him somebody that looks like they could beat him up in real life, could probably beat him up, that will get crushed in a match, that'll go nowhere because they booked themselves into a corner with this whole Adam Cole thing. And now what? They're going to keep him as far away from Ospreay and Swerve as they possibly can because, you know, they're serving, Ospreay and Swerve up for Wembley. Nobody can tell me any different.
Well, they're doing that match at Forbidden Door, though. I believe they're doing Ospreay versus Swerve at Forbidden Door.
There'll be a shit finish.
Yeah, that'll be a shit finish. Swerve will retain, and then it'll be like the big rematch or trilogy bout or whatever will be at Wembley when.
God forbid your champion just win a match against somebody in all intents and purposes should be able to beat based on where they are in the hierarchy of the championships, and then just have Ospreay fight his way back up.
Yeah, someone in the chat said, "What about Bandito?" And yeah, I agree. Where the hell's Bandito been as well?
I feel horrible. I forgot completely, and that's disrespectful to Bandito because he's awesome.
So now we have Orange Cassidy with a chain threatening Callis and Trent Beretta here. I don't know. Now Statlander's standing in the way, but she already healed on Willow, so she's gonna like kick Orange in the balls right here. Watch, she's gonna like low blow him or poke him in the eye, or
because he's a blood orange now, right? Because he's wearing darker denim and
he's not wearing a black tee. He was wearing his white tee, but yeah, he's wearing the darker denim, the dark side.
Okay, like jeggings or actual denim.
I don't know. They're like the jeggings. Yeah, they're like the.
Oh God!
So yeah, she
and then
slapped
right
him.
after the MJF Rush segment, they went right to this match. Orange Cassidy included. Oh my God! Does Tony Khan not look at the quarterly hour ratings? Does he completely ignore them? Does he not know that this guy is not a ratings draw at all?
And then Willow.
If they don't say it on Cage Match, he won't.
And then Willow comes out. She's just done with Mercedes, I guess, and we're gonna get a mixed tag match or what? Like, what's the feud? And
who's that with Orange Cassidy? Is that Statlander?
Well, no, Stats with Trent now, and then Willow came out and saved Orange, and now she's not interested in Mercedes, and now Mercedes is gonna fight that Vaquera girl, who they randomly showed a promo package for that we thought was Megan Bain.
So Stat is with Don Callis.
Now here's Jericho.
Oh, they're just pulling out all of the fucking stops, aren't they?
This is the same shot when he was doing that whole dumb shit with MJF when they were. This is the same shot, black SUV in some random parking lot.
It might be the same shot. Literally,
it's the same shot. God, this is like SmackDown 2 levels of cutscene right now.
Why does this faction make sense? Like, why is Jericho and Big Bill like public school teachers, and then Brian Keith they're with a bounty hunter?
Well, he's a bounty hunter. It makes sense.
Great. I know, Tony. No, listen, Tony. I have a great idea. It'll be huge. Trust me, Tony. Okay. It'll be huge. I'm telling you. You know Brian Keith? He's a great guy. I've never met him, but he's a great guy. And let me tell you something, Tony. Let me tell you something. Brian Keith will be the next big thing. I'll put him over. I will. I don't put many people over, but I'll put Brian Keith over in my faction. I get young talent over. Tony. Sorry.
He's trying to get some browning points with the demographic. I respect it. I have some mutuals with Brian Keith. I haven't met him personally, but we have some mutuals. He's a good dude. Okay. He's super talented.
I love Brian Keith.
Yeah, he's awesome. I hope he gets something out of this. and they don't try to Pineapple Pete him. If hopefully it gets there. But I mean, for Big Bill, like this guy just got sober, and it's like they're doing everything to push him, and I hate it because this is a waste. This is a waste.
You know what I like about Brian Keith? He's got a true mean mug on his face.
God.
I dig
Yeah.
it.
And he was coming out to like Slim Thug, I think.
Of course, still
like
tipping.
when Tony Khan like first brought him in, he was coming out to Still Tipping, which was like,
oh yeah, he's.
I wish he wasn't 5'7".
Yeah, but the short ones, you got to be able to fight at that height. I'm speaking from experience.
True.
I'm all of 5'8". They will test you. You got to fight.
4'4", so like I can't.
Yeah. Oh, rubbing it in, huh? That's crazy.
Exactly. And I got a full head of hair too, Marty. I see you.
Wow.
Hey, bro, I ain't but I see your posts on X, bro. I see you.
Oh yeah, me and my boy Gresh. Shout out to my boy Gresh, Aggression Unleashed podcast. He loves to give me shit for it. I'm like, okay, soon as you hit like 33, 34, you better hope your genetics are that strong for all the talk you got. Out of here, no there. Because I thought it was untouchable too. It happened.
Yeah. So, as the title of the live show indicates, Will Ospreay doesn't embrace the grind, bruv. It appears that Triple H was proven right once again. That bald asshole, if you ask Tony Khan, Triple H was right again. And Will Ospreay is set to take a sabbatical from AEW after a hectic schedule.
What did he think was going to happen? That's a 12 to 14-hour flight, depending on where in the country here they are at, for him to fly from Europe. You're going to fly from Europe to the U.S. weekly.
But here's the thing, dude. He's like, oh, no, bruv, I could do the grind and all this shit. And it's like he's flying once a week, if that, first class on a private fucking plane. More than likely one of those two things. And he's taking a sabbatical because it's been a hectic schedule from the schedule he was doing before, where he was in, according to him, in Japan and Canada.
Is this confirmed, by the way?
Well, I mean, Ringside News, they do. I mean, he's not here this week. People are fighting for a number one contendership for his belt tonight, right? And Ringside News, I mean, they're dramatic and shit, but they do for the most part, like vet their sources. And Fightful Select, it's actually a Fightful Select report that Ospreay's been given the week off following his recent schedule, which included appearances at Double or Nothing, Dynamite, and Collision.
Yep.
So like just a normal, like,
seriously?
Dominic Mysterio does that loop in a weekend. You know, what are you talking about?
Oh, Dom is the hardest working man in sports entertainment.
So he's expected to return last week, but I don't know, man. The embracing the grind, and then Ospreay is just proving Triple H right, like not embracing the grind. I find that hilariously ironic.
When you get Doomsday device at a Double or Nothing pay-per-view and land right on your fucking head, you're going to need some time off. And so that's what I believe is the theory. Like, and it's not a hectic schedule. It's a twig of a neck going on.
Yeah, man. And like,
oh my God,
you can't do that style all the time. And he just won the gauntlet, and I don't know, man. And I'm not saying
Punk gave them the blueprint.
What's that?
That's what it was. Punk gave them the blueprint that this man will, if he likes you or if he fanboys for you, you literally can get away with it. You know what he's the unattractive rich girl that somehow always pulls the suitors. Then they never have to spend time with her. And she pays for everything. So they can hang out with whoever they actually want to hang out with. And when they need something, they'll send the cash app, and knowing the money will be there plus more. Mm-hmm. You're using the Jags jet more than likely. He's probably being treated better than the Jags are, or their football club. And what? I don't want to get on a private jet to do 3 shows, because even he sees this probably isn't worth it. When how long is he under contract? Because when it's over,
it's like 8 years, something like that.
8 years. Oh my God. Well, does he have an option? Because Mercedes has an option.
I don't. Too. I know that Tony always does the 1 or 2 year option, but like deep, But I think that's more for people who sign the shorter term deals. I think he gives the 1 year option or whatever. And then the longer ones, like I've just heard he signed people up for 7-8 years, like MJF, like I think FTR took a 7-year deal or something like
Give him
that.
a
I know
Legends deal.
Jericho took like a 10-year one. Yeah, I believe Ospreay took an 8-year one. We have Chris Daniels out here announcing a ladder match, and John JID says hectic schedule. LOL. Wow, so hard. The grind. Yeah, John, I would love to take a private jet all over. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of flying, I guess. It's not my favorite thing, especially being a taller dude. So first class or in a private jet would be awesome because you have that leg room and shit. But I don't know, man. It's just hilarious how it seems like time and time again, people like AEW goes out of its way to prove everyone right. And especially when Ospreay's like, I'm just going to stop talking about it, bro. I'm the best in the world and I do grind. And then he just kept talking about it. And then all of a sudden he takes a sabbatical because of the hectic schedule. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just so funny
AEW
and
is like a
ironic.
curse. Like it's like a curse that happens to you. Like if you say that we're the best wrestle, or you can do the grind, the very next week within 7 to 14 days, like you end up eating your words. You break your tibia, or you crack your neck on a doomsday device. But see, that's the thing. You don't want to. But that's the thing, Phil. Marty, you don't want to tell anybody that this guy's got a hurt neck. You'd rather say this and say that he's taking a sabbatical. That way it looks like, okay, Will Ospreay, he kind of looks dumb saying it and doing it. But at the same time, it's just like, okay, he's not on the injury list. But I think he's on the injury list.
Yeah, that's what the word is
And they think that that's a better option. That's what fucking floors me.
Yeah.
Injury is understandable completely. Benefit of the doubt. It happens. Everybody understands that there's risks in the business. But to say a sabbatical, you just made him look like a bitch in front of everybody.
know, dude. And the thing in AEW too, the thing in AEW too is that when people don't wrestle, I brought it up on the show before, but like, when you see Statlander on TV, but she ain't been wrestling for like 3 months or 4 months, and you're like, why isn't she at a match? It's because they're hurt and they just don't say anything. You know what I mean? So AEW does do a lot of that. And we have Brian Cage about to throw down with Mark Briscoe. And again, not to bring it all to 2 years ago or a year ago or whatever, but a travesty that the Briscoes, one of them needed to pass before Tony would balls up and put them on television. You know what I mean? That's
right.
That's terrible. Somebody said, Heading Out in the chat says, according to Nash, tall people are allowed to pee in the sink on planes. I wish, bruv. that is a myth. That's a joke, sir. That ain't true. No way, no how. If you're just tuning into the show, make sure you hit that like button. There's been like 100 of you in here. I'm not sure, but just we're at like 46 likes. So get those way up there. Let's get to at least 69. And then we'll go from there. That's the number the chat chooses, man. They were, that's been the bit, recurring live show bit.
I know I'm behind you guys as far as the television viewing, but I just saw Brian Cage's entrance. What's he doing, man? Like that was so damn. I was about to say the G word. It was so fruity. He's just not that guy.
Awful's just awful. Awful's gonna launch when Awful launches his podcast. It's gonna be on Rumble, folks. Just so you all know.
Yeah, probably.
Oh my God, Brian Cage. If he could figure out how to get himself a DeLorean, so he could go back to the 80s or early 90s, where he would actually work.
Oh yeah,
he would in a heartbeat.
Or to WWE, he'd be a huge star. That's why Tony would never let him go. They know that WWE would push that guy, like make a lot of money.
Well NXT.
Here's a funny meme I saw 4 years ago. Jericho is the demo god and Dynamite is going to beat Raw in the ratings within a year. Tony studies the ratings and is a numbers guy, so he knows what he's doing. Just look at us outdrawing NXT today. Only losers care about ratings. Get a life, people. I thought that was funny. I just wanted to bring that to the show.
Movement at its finest.
That's hilarious.
The
show. He got thrown into.
We're like sitting here watching in awe, like This is horrible. This is atrocious. Now, see,
And so MJF, like earlier, not to interrupt you there, but we were talking about like, yeah, he's a triple MJF in the opening segment. He's in the leather jacket, da 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 da. Well, he went to Sports Illustrated and he admitted, dude, I thought it was somewhat of a coincidence, and I don't know. Now I'm getting
you're a
into
mark. How
I'm
could
getting
you think
into
that was coincidence?
Well, I didn't think it was like, okay, I don't know. Listen, man, he comes out and goes, the jean jacket was over what I feel is my leather jacket, but the jean jacket was certainly an homage to a return that meant something to me when I was a kid in Madison Square Garden. I'm sure people can connect the dots. Like we did, but the fact he just comes out and says it, it makes it like it's just like cosplay. Like, here's the thing. AEW, they do this shit so much. I'm in a debate on X with people going like, well, it's not cosplay. If he came out and spit water in the air and did Triple H's fucking video game taunts, then it's cosplay. It's like, no, if I dress up like Iron Man, that's cosplay, bro. I don't give a shit. I don't have to start going, I am Iron Man and doing, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to start that. Like, I don't have to do Iron Man taunts to make it.
If it's not cosplay, it's live action role play. How about that?
Well,
There we go.
and they're just
Is
like,
he
well, it's
LARPing?
an homage, though.
Yeah.
It's an homage, and like, I'm not trying to hate on pain. And they're like, wrestlers do it all the time, and I'm just like, dude, he literally dressed like Triple H, and then brought up Vince McMahon, and then said and it was his return during when Triple H had a return. That's not homage like CM Punk wearing pink and black, an homage to Bret Hart,
which was fire, by the way.
Yeah, and it's not like when CM Punk tagged with Sting, and then he wore Sting face paint and like Sting tights. That's like he's literally Sting tagging with Sting. So like that's sort of an homage. That's not so much cosplay as
There's
it's
nothing
happened
subtle going on.
It's happened time and
AEW.
again. Like Jericho and Guevara dressed up like Jericho and HBK, and then did the finish or like the afterbirth of the HBK Jericho WrestleMania match where Guevara bagged Jericho instead of you remember at WrestleMania where Jericho bagged HBK. So they literally dressed like WWE wrestlers and then did a WWE WrestleMania afterbirth thing. Like it's to me, that's where we cross over into fucking cosplay. Like when Eddie Kingston and Claudio come out and they're dressed like the All Japan dudes, and then they do the finish from the All Japan match. Like, I'm sorry, to me, we're going into cosplay territory here at this point. And then for MJF to do that and then make a Vince McMahon reference in that promo and then come out to Sports Illustrated and go, yeah, you can connect the dots. I dressed like him kind of thing. It's just like, God damn, man. He either is really kissing ass on his way out or like, I don't know. I don't think he's on his way
what
out
he's
to
doing.
AEW, but
It's smart business. So what he's doing is you're not burning a bridge, because then you can say whatever you want, because then it's just shtick, and that literally is like 60% of his shtick. But it's also, hey, it's kind of like when Cody smashed the throne. It's like, hey, I'm going to take these shots because it's my gimmick, and I'm going to make it so obvious and corny that it's my gimmick. But I'm also paying respect, because if this guy pisses me off or when this contract is up, I'm going to have a WrestleMania match like I've always wanted, like everybody on any roster has always wanted. You know what I mean? He's kind of keeping one toe in a sense. It's like, I'm not going to degrade it and just be completely crazy about it. I'm going to do this because I know it gets headlines, even though it brings headlines to the competition. And it's also going to leave me in good standing. So when I ask for more money, I'm going to get it. And then I guess the whole cosplay thing, it's like, all right.
But doesn't that kind of betray his contract length? I mean, if you're going to be there for the next, how long is he going to be here for?
You said 8 years?
I think it's like
I think that there's an option. Then you can't tell me there's no option.
MJF will be there for I think another 5. Like I think it was like 2 years ago he signed like a 7 or 8 year deal. Now this is all just what I've heard and shit. So don't like I'm not reporting.
There's
the
an
news
option.
Here. Yeah,
there's an option.
Yeah.
If he's doing all that, there's an option.
Even still, why dress up like the man? I had an issue with it the very first time I saw it. I think you and I talked about it, Phil. Like you shouldn't have did it. Especially now that we both know that he's going to be there for at least another 3 to 5 years. So you paid homage to a guy on your first day back, and you've got 5 years to go. Like, and just sink into a new character, sink into what you're going to be doing. Don't try to pay homage to the guy.
They book week to week.
The rumors are too, that MJF is allegedly making $15 million per year with AEW. Now this is complete cap. It might be 15 million total over like the The
Why
8
not?
or
Okada's
7
getting
years or whatever?
13.5 million. That's
Over how
For
many
the
confirmed.
year?
Over how many years?
A year for like I think 3 years.
Okay,
13
I could
million
3 years
a
though.
year?
I could see that for 3 years. That seems like similar to what
I'm
Mercedes was
sorry.
getting,
I'm so
what Edge
sorry.
is
I'm
probably
so
getting.
sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's 4.5 million a year.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I could see
13,
MJF
yeah,
getting
13.5.
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
see MJF getting like 5 million a year, 4 million. Like I could see Tony locking him in for a few million a year for sure.
Under
I could
6 for
absolutely
sure.
see that. Yeah.
These guys don't deserve that kind of
I
money.
know. I'm just saying like
Because if he
terrible.
leaves, it's just like when Punk left. If he loses MJF, because here's the thing: when Adam Cole's deal is up, he's going back. Like you can't not convince me he's not going to go back, especially with the guys that pushed him up to the top and made him look amazing. Triple H and Sean.
Sure.
He's totally
Mhm.
going back. He's definitely going back, and when he does, it's going to set everything on fire in the best way possible. MJF,
Marty,
if he's doing this, I think he has an option.
I got a question.
Sure.
Is it worth bringing back Adam Cole when the machine rolls on, and when his contract is up with AEW, he comes back to guys like Braun Breaker. He comes back to guys like
yeah,
boy, I'm getting a brain fart, but yeah,
Trick
like
Williams and shit. Here's the thing
right,
too is
like
that Adam Cole's
the business has
contract's been
passed him
frozen.
by.
Has been frozen during his injury time too.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I'm saying, bringing him back. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're going to bring him back for like astronomical money. But the fact that they'll be able to figure out some way, because it's wrestling and it always comes back around, that Undisputed Era merch, and when that theme comes back up, they're going to be printing money for at least a year and a half,
Oh,
depending on the storytelling. Just from a business aspect, it's a good rate because I'm sure Tony's giving him good money, but is it anywhere near like along the lines of what all the other top stars are getting, especially because he's been injury prone. I think they'll bring him back in NXT to let him kind of take that back over, and then he'll get to the main roster. Like
make him the general manager. Make him a manager or general manager.
Shave his head bald.
Didn't they want to make him a manager on the main roster?
That's why he left. And now he's a manager here. Like I don't
We're
get
gonna shave his head bald and stick him with Bailey.
You see what it did for LA Knight? It actually, in a way, ironically, what it did for LA Knight is it made the fan base so annoyed and so pissed off that when they let him be himself, I think it kind of helped. It was like an energy drink to it.
George Captor for $5 says, would WWE want these guys back after Tony Khan's booking? Tony kills talent. Round of applause. Thank you for the super.
Yes, I believe so. I believe so.
Marty and Awful sort of answered that for you, but sorry, Marty, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I believe that just because, we've seen what they did with Jade. We've seen what they did with Punk, which was like, I wouldn't even say that because Punk did what he could while he was there, despite.
Both Jade and Punk transcended their presence on that show. The show, thank God, did not drag those two down. Like you saw Jade Cargill, and I guarantee you, I know I wasn't the only one. I saw Jade Cargill on AEW, and I was just like, "What is she doing here?
Yeah,
why is she not in WWE?" Like very first thought. Same thing with Punk. It's just like, okay, it's only a matter of time. It may never happen, but at the time. But yeah, man, there's nobody else there's nobody else coming through the screen at you. MJF proved that tonight. Like, he's not coming through the screen anymore. He's just another guy.
Yeah, I think Cole could do that if he has the right people around him, and I think if it all comes down to timing, because I don't think O'Reilly and Fish is definitely not doing anything. I don't think O'Reilly has anything that's going to keep him super locked for long term.
Nah.
I think if he has the right people around him, and they're able to kind of bring that back, it's kind of like when they did the Shield reunion, one of the two of the three times that they did it. Like it kind of meant something more towards the end. I think I don't see it being anything long term, and I don't see him with a ceiling of like Braun Breaker or even like a Trick or even a Melo, or like a Melo or any of those guys. But I feel like what NXT is doing now and where they're building it, I think it's already a respectable option. I think with time and the way that they're pushing up talent more so now, instead of guys coming in, stopping in NXT and then going to the main roster, they're building more organic stars. So I feel like if they bring Cole back there, it helps. One, you can tell great matches because I think when he has the right people around him, those were his best matches, period. And then it also kept him, out of injury trouble, or he was least likely to get injured. They'll be able to bring him there and let him run NXT. And then if he gets a decent run on the main roster, then cool. it's not going to hurt them too much because they're not going to break the bank for it, but they will make bank for it with being able to reinstate all that old merch.
I could see them bringing back Undisputed Era for sure because they were Triple H HBK guys, and I could see Samoa Joe going back like fucking. Oh, speaking of which,
100%.
So Mark Briscoe won that match. By the way, thank you so much for the super chat, George. So Mark Briscoe won that match, and then Jack Perry got on the screen and is talking shit to him, and I think we're going to get Jack Perry versus Mark Briscoe down the line, I guess. And then we have Hook and Samoa Joe. So Samoa Joe is just their world champion. Now he's just in a tag team with Hook randomly.
Hook needs the help. Hook needs the help.
Yeah, but I like the Joe Hook pairing. It's kind of like it makes
he's pairing
sense
with his dad in a way.
Yeah, it's like it makes sense. Like it's like big bro trying to teach him. Like, yeah, I was like you, and like they both choke people out. So I like that. Joe makes it work. If they didn't do so much dumb shit with Hook, I'd have more faith in him. We know Hook's going back to NXT one day. I hope, pray to God, Joe's going back to WWE one day. Because Triple H loved Joe and he'd use him.
Give it time.
He'd be in the main event picture right away. And then
Also
Tony
coaching.
Nese though and Arya Davari, who are great workers, man, two former WWE guys as well, but they just came up here to challenge Joe and Hook, so we're probably going to get a tag team match with all of them. I don't know. I like all four of these guys, so I'm optimistic. I don't know when that match will be, but yeah,
Rampage.
Tony Nese, just other guys who like, where have they been in Ring of Honor? I don't get it. And then Mark Briscoe, like, so he's just going to feud Jack Perry over his Ring of Honor belt. Like they're going to just give Jack Perry a Ring of Honor belt so he can walk around with a belt, or I don't know, man. That shit's all cringe. The Perry shit and all of that fell off hard. Oh, Jack Perry's hot. He sold some shirts. He's blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's great. That ain't going to last a long time though. There's no longevity in being the guy that Punk choked out unless you really bring Punk in and there's some way to capitalize on it. Otherwise, it's just like, okay, well, that was kind of cool for a second, and who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Okay, but do you understand like the okay? So you can see how it's kind of like the parallels of it are kind of crazy because we just seen them on screen. Like we saw Perry and we saw Hook. They're pushing. Nobody believed any of the Perry shit, and I don't even think that's 100% his fault. I just think that with the credibility and the seriousness of Hook, that's what they wanted us to like feel and see in Perry. And Hook has the seriousness and has the skill set. Well, even though it's getting better, like currently has an impressive skill set. He has the presence. He has all the potential, but doesn't have the booking. It seems like they did that when they had the streak and he wasn't talking, but it was hurting him because there was no personality in there with it to progress with his ring work. And it's just funny to me because they want Perry to be Hook so bad, or to be respected like Hook so bad. It's just like, no, give Hook Perry's booking and then just keep Perry and put him in Ring of Honor or something. I don't know. It's not a thing to me.
Idea Maker in the chat. Yeah, sorry, I had misspoke. I didn't mean Hook back to NXT. I had like stopped what I was saying there. I meant to say like Joe back to NXT or he would be on the main roster, right? And then I meant Hook is gonna go to NXT. He already said it. He's gonna test free agency. So
where would you want him?
I think, speaking of testing free agency and NXT and potential people who could leave AEW, Tony Khan goes on CBS and says, this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I'd play a flute, but those are for Meltzer. So Tony Khan goes, oh, I think Ricky Starks is tremendous. I'd love to get him involved and back in AEW anytime. He's been a huge part of what we've done here for about 4 out of the 5 years, and tons of respect. So first off, like, you don't need to break down 4 out of the 5 years. You can just say he's been a huge part of, when I say Sting's a huge part of WCW, I don't break down how many fucking years it was. But also, Ricky Starks, man, like Tony Khan, you're the booker. You're the guy who says whether he's back in AEW. Ricky Starks was just getting mad at people on social media for assuming he was injured and all of this shit. He's had to fly to places like Jacksonville to not even be used and stuff like that. He said it openly. And for Tony Khan to go, oh, he's great, and I'd love to get him involved and back in AEW anytime. Well, then why don't you book him? Why wasn't he in the gauntlet? Where the fuck has he been? Why did you just give his tag partner, Big Bill, to Jericho randomly and not explain Ricky Starks in any of it? It's the dumbest thing ever. Tony Khan is lousy, and I'll just leave it at that.
Dummy, yeah.
Awful. What do you think about these comments from Tony Khan?
It's the same kind of. First off, I think he's going through some sort of like negotiation with Ricky Starks. I don't know. I mean, it just sounds like some sort of jargon that you would say when you're in the middle of negotiating. I'd love for him to come back and blah, 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 blah. Or maybe his contract's up. I'm not really sure. But either way, Tony Khan says too much. He talks too much. He doesn't have to be on CBS radio. He doesn't have to be on these middling podcasts that only get like 2,000 fucking
Awful.
views.
Our guys on Max Caster, the Acclaimed.
Oh,
You want to be Dominic so bad with that mustache.
Here, let's hear our guy, the Acclaimed. Let's listen.
please.
He said this one goes out to the Young Bucks.
Oh my God, thank you, Bucks. I never thought I would say that.
He called them the extremely okay. The Bucks interrupted Max Caster's
Thank God.
rap. They're bringing up the AEW employee handbook. Shout out AEW disciplinary committee. Scully Vibes for $2 shout you out. Jericho is so cringe. Yeah. We know. Oh, damn. So the Acclaimed, their segment got cut. So they have to leave. They just cut the segment. So they're taking shots at WWE or what, guys?
They're trolling WWE because that's what it sounds like.
For $10, plenty. Oh, my goodness. We'll give you an arrow. We'll play some music. Quick pop in to say you guys are amazing and I appreciate you. Now I got to go bury my face in a research paper. Haha, have a great night. Calculus, research, Plinian. You're a genius. And thank you so much. Round of applause for you.
Shout out Plinian, man.
And thanks for always just popping in and good luck with your studies. Either of you guys good researchers?
Yes.
Yeah, gotta be.
Yes. I know Awful is. He has a book on the way.
Yeah,
So Swerve's on screen.
Yeah, I'm far behind, gentlemen. I'm still looking at Billy Gunn, looking at the Bucks.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing Swerve talk right now. At least he's on TV. Thank God.
Plinian, you're gonna do good, chat. Send Plinian all of your mental loves and IQ points. Spirit bomb him in the air to him, and let's get him through his calculus.
Oh God, positive energies.
You're here all the time, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, at least Swerve is on TV. But again, a random title defense against Roderick Strong.
Why does it seem like Tony Khan, like he's just playing exhibition mode on 2K?
Yeah.
Like he just created his car and everything is an exhibition match. You know how you can like my GM, you can like book your own pay-per-views. Like that's literally how he treats it. Because you do it week to week. You can't do stories.
I wonder if he buys that game, creates his own GM, and then like plays against Triple H.
No, he plays the old SmackDown games because you can simulate the whole season. I think that's what he did.
Man, that's funny.
I'm watching the Swerve interview right now. This man does not come off looking like a star. That belt.
Swerve's house?
I believe he does it in the ring.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I feel like he does in the ring. I think he does in the ring, but when he's doing his promos, it's like they don't do him any justice because of where they slot him. Like if this were Raw or SmackDown, he'd be opening the show, or he'd be ending the last segment talking his shit.
Follow the Monet. I missed it.
Oh my God!
My phone.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so there's follow the Monet, scan the QR code. What do you guys think about that?
I don't think it was her idea, so I'm not going to give her shit.
Awful. Go ahead.
You heard what I said. Gay.
Oh, come on. This guy's like on a mission to. He's like every
Happy
week.
Pride Month.
New word. that people get pissed off about on full screen. That's what I'm
No.
gonna do.
Happy Pride Month.
Yes, right, exactly. Happy. What was it? Pride Month. Be proud.
Yeah, dude. So
And,
she's talking
Men's
about
Mental Health
Japan.
Month.
Mercedes Monet's talking about Japan and Great Muda, who is a WWE Hall of Famer.
What's
And
she look like,
she's
Phil?
God, I can't wait till she goes back to the Feds. This is the biggest heist ever, and I'm not mad at it.
What did you think about
you're gonna
her versus Willow, Marty? Were you a fan of that match? I thought it was a great match. Caroline shit
the
all
first,
over it.
I mean, the first one was good. The second one it wasn't as good as the first, but two separate promotions. When you think about it, not even literally two separate promotions, so that's why the first one was better. They're going to talk more about how they're giving stuff a chance. I feel like they show more promo videos than matches, and like I said, this is the greatest finesse ever because I'm not mad at it. You're going to pay me millions of dollars. I barely have to That's why Ospreay should shut the fuck up because this is the easiest schedule. You show up, you do vignettes, you have your one match that's going to make you look good. It's going to pad your record because records matter, and then in 2-3 years or whatever, if you get an option within the 5, then you can go to the Fed and make all the money and then end your career on a high note. Like, I'm not. I mean, you tell me you're going to pay me whatever, 4.4 million, 4.5 million a year, and I just get to kick it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not mad at the talent. You're the booker. You are the booker.
I will hate on it as a fan who does want to consume the best wrestling I can, and
agreed.
We're not going to do that when everyone's trying to be Hulk Hogan. Awful. You want to know what's the name of the month? Demonetization.
I love that.
You motherfucker, shut the fuck up.
Oh God. Oh, okay. When he gets his podcast, we gotta put it behind the paywall.
That's just going on Rumble, dog. No, Awful. I love you, bro. Don't ever.
I'm going at 30% right now. Trust me.
Yeah, I know.
But,
speaking of 30%, I guess Wrestle Cringe is back, and his brain's functioning on 30% of its capacity. There's a glitch in the I don't know. Is that a good segue? I'm trying here, guys. So there's a glitch in the AEW multiverse here. So Wrestle Cringe tweets or X's out. A fighting champion defending in a bomb-ass match on free TV is good, actually. Wrestle Cringe somehow got his Twitter back. And then JD from NY goes, and JD's talking like he ain't been doing the same shit for a long time. But yeah. JD goes, bro, honestly, shut the fuck up. Your gimmick is dead. You used to be cool. Now you're an agenda that pushes tribalism just like everyone else, and that's nothing of value to this. Oh, sorry, blowing my lovely girlfriend a kiss there. Adds nothing of value to this. A champion defending against someone who just lost his title a week ago to the man challenging for the title at the next pay-per-view, while claiming he is next strong and similar to the boss, while screaming he is number 2 in the rankings. That haven't been updated since April 6, 2024 is not good TV. You're as washed as AEW Creative. Now, the reason I bring this to the show is because
he turned on them.
There's a lot of people, though, who are like, listen, and we're going to get to Alfred Konua Pro Wrestling Bits video where he actually shouted me out. Shout out Alfred. He gave me an honorable mention in his top 5 AEW quote-unquote haters, like people who aren't, I don't know. We're gonna watch it here on the show. We're gonna watch it. I'm gonna play it. And shout him out for that. But I bring this to the show because it's like there's sort of a movement now where these people are shifting, and they're shifting their opinion now because it's sort of the cool thing to do. And
there's no leg to stand on. You can't stand on the same hill. You died on those hills. You lost a leg on that bullshit hill that you were standing on, and now you're gonna limp over to the other side. You surrendered, and now you're switching sides.
And I'm okay with that, but don't be sorry, man. I'm just saying I'm okay with it, but as like a creator in the space, it's just like, listen, and I'm all for, I shouted out JD, he unblocked me, at least he's man enough to do that. Here's my whole thing is that we can't be too quick to just start giving these guys all these flowers, right? I didn't get no flowers for standing on the business I was standing on when people were fucking dragging me and I had to trudge through the slime to get to where people actually understand. Okay, Pro Wrestle Times, Phil Marks is actually, he is an AEW fan. He's trying his best to enjoy this.
We're all trying.
Awful's not. Awful's just like, nah, fuck it. Shoot the pilot.
I mean, but at least he's being objective in his criticisms. I haven't heard Awful say anything that couldn't be backed by simply fucking watching.
And that's why
maybe the delivery isn't what people want it to be, and he's not going to kiss ass
2
and
plus 2
sugarcoat
is
it.
4. Just because he says 2 plus 2 is fucking 4 doesn't mean it's not. So for $5,
Exactly.
Shaggy Phil says, "Here's some money back for the G word. Never change." They're gonna limit the ads on this shit, Shaggy Phil. So that actually contributes a lot. We have the CMLL brawling the BCC.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it's Wheeler Yuta's back. He was just cleared today, I guess. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you so much. And
I'm with you, Phil, on the
Captor,
JD from New York. Oh, good read this.
Sorry, $5. People finally realize that Cornette and Last have been right all along, and we'll give that one an air horn as well. Thank you.
Shout out to Mrs. Corney for the follow for you, man.
Shout out Mrs. Corney, who actually follows PWT.
Nice.
Which is a fact. Gave me a follow the other week. So shout her out. And Jim will be soon. I'm sure Mrs. Corney's gonna tap him in eventually. But thank you both for your $5 contributions there for the for Awful, allowing Awful to do his thing. I appreciate it so much.
What is this match?
But Awful, sorry, your thoughts on the on basically what I said about the John from JID thing, and it's not just a him thing; it's a content creators in general, like Solomonster and all these guys.
Right, it's going where the tide is shifting, essentially. I mean, that's all it is as far as from a business and marketing standpoint. There's so many times you can rah-rah for AEW. Here's the surprising thing. I like how it's come all so very late. It's too late. This kind of thing reached its peak at the Wembley attendance numbers and the credibility checking with all of these guys. Oh, was it 80,000? Was it 70,000? But then it started falling off from there because it was just like, listen, you can't protect what we're seeing with our own two eyes. You can't tell me that Orange Cassidy is a draw. You can't tell me that the Young Bucks are doing great business. You can't tell me that Tony Khan is a great booker week in and week out. You're going to lose your credibility. So these guys are doing it in an about face, things that, have always been known. They're finally recognizing what it is. I think it's purely from a marketing standpoint. I think they've always believed this type of shit, but because they wanted the access with Tony Khan and the AEW, they thought they were going to get in like a Will Washington or that one guy, the bald white guy. But these guys
come on, man. People are getting mad. They're getting mad at you. Sorry, Awful, not to veer off, but people are like,
sure.
And Awful deleted his tweet that said, "You're allowed to delete tweets." Everyone deletes tweets, guys. Calm down. It's like,
what tweet did I delete?
I don't know. They're saying like, "Oh, he deleted his response or something." Maybe they weren't referring to you, and I misunderstood. But
I didn't delete anything.
Okay, then sorry.
And even then, you're allowed to change your mind when you get new information. Like I agree with Awful 100%. I think that just change. It's the change of the tides, and they're trying to, they're trying to get to land. I completely get that.
And here's the thing, I'm going to stay on point regardless. When I make these fucking WWE videos that get 700 views, I'm going to stay making them. Sorry, Marty, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. All I'm saying is, like, for the objective, legit journalists, because that's how these people want to be seen. If that's how you're doing it, you're allowed to get new information. You're allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to change your mind. Just be upfront about it, and then not be so harsh in the criticisms as if you weren't being fucking delusional beforehand and making it seem like you had no fucking eyes and couldn't see. You wanted this access, and you knew all you had to do was kiss his ass to get the access. But my thing is you tell the fucking truth. When it's good,
worth it?
It's good.
When your super chats go down, was it worth it when your subscriber base goes down over time? I think that's what happened to these guys. They're never going to say like, hey, you know what? My subscriber count kind of went down a little bit. Actually, I'm not getting as many super chats as I used to get. They're not going to tell you that to you. What they're going to keep on doing, like JD from New York, he's going to keep screaming at you. He blocked me for some reason. I never mentioned.
They're all doing the yes chant. Yeah, JD had me blocked. Then I released a clip where I tagged him his channel in it, and I said, yo. I was like, like you're saying what I was saying a year ago, JD. It's all good. You're stealing Phil Marks' gimmick now. I was doing a bit. He found it funny, obviously, because he unblocked me. Now,
he blocked me.
So I'm glad. But there's guys like
Care less.
Solomonster who just like talked shit to me, blocked me, and then will never unblock me. You know, obviously, even though he's shifting as well, and just saying the shit we were saying months ago. That's what drives me the most insane is that like guys like Brian Alvarez are like, "Hello, am I the only one seeing this here?" And it's like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Dave blocked me for seeing this shit and pointing it out. Like, it's just
Brian
so
You weren't in the
Alvarez knows-
circle.
Yeah, Brian Alvarez knows what's going on too. I'm sure his subscriber counts and his monetary values dropping down. It may not be big. I'm not saying that these guys are losing thousands, but just even a drop, they're like, "Uh-oh, I see where this tide is changing." You know what? Who's doing well in the X sphere? Who's doing well on YouTube? Oh, it seems like these anti-AEW accounts are
I don't
doing
even like
all
being
right.
labeled that guy. I just try to be the
I know,
funny wrestling guy.
It's so funny because I was just like, "Oh, you love the shout out from Kanua," but it was just like, "What are you labeled as? An AEW hater?" And it's just like,
Exactly.
I think that was ironic.
Yeah. But I think Phil's trying to run far away from that, and so are a lot of people that I know are trying to run away. And it's just like it's not anti AEW; it's just stark.
It's like who do you guys know that supports? Like I've probably got more people to watch AEW than any man. I'm the one here. Like I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's
It doesn't even seem that you're anti. It's just you're calling the bullshit when it happens. That's all
exactly.
that it
And
is.
I call the bullshit too, dude. I was just talking shit about, and I was watching NXT, and I'm like, I don't fuck with this Heritage Cup shit at all. The concept's bad. It's not booked well. It never worked. It didn't work when ROH or TNA tried the same thing, and no one gets outraged. But then I say some shit about MJF, and I go, "Oh, he was cosplaying. Fuck this company, trying to be funny." And then then people are like, "Oh, come on, man, come on." That's unfair. It's like, I don't know. It's selective outrage, sort of. There's someone beefeast in the chat. Chill, just like you don't have to be so vulgar in the chat, bro. You know what I mean? Try not to get
George Captor said
Um,
something beautiful. He said Alvarez also realized that when he argues with Dave, they get the views, and there it is, right there.
Exactly. And so I think that's more what it is. Like, because you've asked me before, like, what do you think it is that Alvarez is seeing? What after all these years, what is it? I just don't think it's anything. I think Alvarez is just they know they're drumming up views, and when Alvarez goes to those press conferences, they just clown him anyways.
Right.
And then George also says, JD also says axe instead of axe. Yeah, a lot of people do that. A lot of my friends do that, bro. I don't know what you mean by that, bro. But yeah, but yeah, man. I'm definitely not a hater on anybody who's crossing the road, if you will. But
but you gotta shame him a little bit, just a little bit. You can't be. Yeah, there have been people been like, "Oh my God, he's so cool. He turned the corner." What are you talking about? Hold on, doesn't he have a long way to go towards rehabilitation? Like he could find next week's Dynamite show fantastic, and once again, he's right back on the road of bullshit.
Yeah.
So I mean, give it time. Vet these people. Give them a little bit of shame.
Yeah, we got to give each other flowers.
It has to make sense.
We got to give each other flowers like Pro Wrestling Bits Alfred Konowa did. To circle back to that, we're going to play that video in full. I'm sure he'll be cool if I do it. But
homie didn't mention me one time.
he gave flowers though. Well, it was a top 5 list, and the fact he even included me in it, I want to tell him is like I shouldn't even be included in it. You know what I mean? I shouldn't even be included like as an honorable mention. So shit, that's joking, top 6 or 7.
Yeah, 10, don't get off of it. I think I literally think that also like the top 5. It's the irony because Alfred kind of said something similar when he was on with you. It was just it's not that he's a hater. He's just calling out the bullshit.
Right.
And he's looked at as a hater. He's being objective. So I think when he's talking about top 5 haters, I think that he's just like it's sarcasm.
It's in quotes. No, it is. It's top 5 quote unquote haters. You know, like it's not like he explains it at the start. We'll go through it. But I think it's funny I'm even mentioned on there, but it's how like even people in the chat, they're like, "Oh, I listen to Jim Cornette and Eric Bischoff and PWT," and it's like, how am I even mentioned in the same? I must be doing something right. So I don't know. And I just people like Alfred's giving everyone their flowers. The people who've been in the pocket the whole time, standing 10 toes down, going, "No, dude, like I want this to survive," or like, but like here's the criticisms that are objective, and this is what could be better. And I'm not looking to interview Tony Khan. Like it makes I will, you know, but I don't, if that never happens in my life, that's fine. I just want this to be the best thing it can be and don't want to be, you know, like don't like I don't know. It's just this.
You're just trying to be objective.
Right, that's all it boils down to. And so Alfred's given the flowers, and you see a lot of people like giving it up to JD and these other guys who are finally crossing the street. And it's like, well, let's not forget the people who like trudged through the shit so these guys could grow flowers. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, you fertilized it.
We must shame them. Shame them.
Shame. But you know what it is too? It's like, okay, if you see people like action movies, you see spies, or it's like, okay, if I'm in one gang, right? And they're clearly losing. They're clearly the inept side. And then I want to switch sides and go over the other one, and I'm doing it for survival. They're doing it for their, you know, for their super chats, for their subscriptions. They're doing it for survival. Here's the thing: if they allow you to come over to the other side, nobody trusts you at the beginning. You got to earn your keep. You have to be consistent. You have to show loyalty, and you have to, you know, show improve, or else they'll put you out. Or nobody's gonna trust the person that switched sides. Like this takes a lot of time. You gotta prove your merit.
I'll forgive JD once he unblocks me. Not that I give a shit if he does or not, but
yeah,
I didn't know the guy. But
at least he'll unblock you. He won't unblock me just because he likes to say a lot of stupid shit, and now he thinks because I also think that's why Solomon Monster is giving you shit, because it's the whole House of Glory connection in a sense. I think that's like part of it, but I think, and shout out to my boy Wilkins. He's over there doing, you know what I'm saying? He's over there doing his thing. And I noticed that when JD asked him to come on his show, I think he was trying to bridge some gaps. I don't necessarily think it's the most authentic, because he has a habit of saying really crude, stupid shit on a racial level. But I also think he's playing sides and trying to switch up with that. So my thing is like, okay, you're going to switch your side. You tried to switch sides to get back in with one demographic, and now you're trying to move over with the masses because now you can all of a sudden see what everybody else is seeing. It's like, no, man, you got to prove this shit. Full of shit.
Tell us why you were wrong. How about that? Tell us exactly why you were thinking the way you were 3-4 fucking years ago. We all had the same pair of goddamn eyes. What were you thinking?
It boils down to optimism. Like, I just wanted it to be good, you know. I wanted to will it. Anyways, though, guys, at Pro Wrestling Bits, go subscribe to Alfred Konuwa. I'll be collaborating with him in the future for sure, and you'll see him back in the PWT universe as well. But here's his latest video. Alfred, great guy, buddy. I'm sure you won't try and copyright strike me for playing this here, but it's a bit of a longer one, but this is a great video. And Wheeler Yuta just pinned some CMLL guy, so who gives a shit at this point with Dynamite, right, folks? So here's the truth about wrestling's greatest AEW hater.
Do you hate AEW? I don't. Yes. And I don't think any of the people on this list do. But for one reason or another, certain voices in the wrestling space, usually the ones who don't have a problem giving an unfiltered opinion, find themselves at odds with both AEW and its fan base. AEW hateration is a growing industry. Even some of AEW's diehards are slowly carnying their way into what they once called bad faith criticism. Funny how criticizing AEW
are slowly carnying their way. Alfred's just, I love him, man. I love him.
Is becoming a popular genre unto itself. Why? Because though no AEW stan clutching a media scrum credential will admit this, most of AEW's criticism is absolutely legit. This is something the, quote, haters on this list knew before anybody. AEW continues to struggle as new TV deal negotiations are...
I love that he made this video, because it's like, you don't... God damn, he's giving us our flowers, dude. And like, not that like it, like I don't give a shit about it, but just the fact that a guy that I respect, like Alfred, you know, that's really cool, man. I just want to point that out. You know what I mean? Like, right. Yeah, I don't know. This is just, I thought this was really cool. And it's a video. It's a good concept, because I harp about this a lot. Like, man, we've all been saying this, you know, I'm always yelling about it, but he just compartmentalized it in a video. And I'm like, and it's like a good way to do it. I don't know. He's really good at what he does, man. And shout out this channel. If you're not, you guys are probably all subscribed. Alfred's got more subscribers than me, but yeah, if you're not, go check out Pro Wrestling Bits. All of his videos are stellar, I find.
Underway, and the struggle has given way to an explosion in the, quote, AEW hater industry. It's AEW's own fault, really, because speaking for myself, I don't want to see AEW fail. AEW zealots are essentially the Eagles fans of pro wrestling, but without the sense of humor. They're like the extreme liberals and even the far right who try to cancel everybody with a cross word to say about their party, and all these leaders who don't give a shit about them. So seeing AEW struggle is sad for the wrestlers they employ, but it's so satisfying for the self-righteous supermarks who dedicate their careers to defending Tony Khan by throwing matching temper tantrums. Today, we're going to rank the top 5 AEW haters in the business. And I use the term haters loosely because to be an AEW hater, you also have to keep up with the product, watch every show, and deliver your public criticism. So essentially, you have to be engaged with AEW. Tell me, how is that any different from supporting the product? It's not, because we're not the problem. AEW is.
Wow, the gut punch.
Yeah.
The infamous gut punch.
Subscribe in Swahili. By the way, it's an election year, and my new favorite way to read news is...
Okay, he reads an ad, and I'm going to skip that because I don't get paid by these motherfuckers, so...
Seen a video from Wendover Productions that talks about negativity bias. And there's but on average, the negative videos just do better. Don't get it for hating AEW long before hating on AEW was cool. Before we get
hits us with a QR code. So here's the honorable mentions. He gave a criteria. Here for $5. Thank you so much. Great job as always, guys. Absolutely love Meltzer's dumb moment. Any thought of recording and posting the flute? It'd be a hell of a ringtone. It's not, dude. I found it in like memes and reels and TikToks or whatever. You just find it. It's out there. It's in the it's out in the ethos. Thank you so much for being here and just asking about the flute.
I got a sound for Tony Khan, by the way. I'll send it to you after the show.
Please, because he needed some music or something. I needed some sort of I love it. I love it. But yeah, Merge, sure, I could maybe like post the audio. I just downloaded it off some random like sound website or whatever. I can't even remember where I got this. I might have just YouTubed it, you know? So yeah, shout you out and thank you so much for that. So here's the honorable mentions, and Alfred laid out some criteria. Now, he's like, you got to watch all of AEW, which I do. It's tough, man. I don't know. So he brings up a couple channels here. Now, I don't know. Does Marv watch all of AEW, though? Like, I don't think a lot of people even do that. So, but he does stay up on what's going on in it. So he gets shouted out as well. And it's just, I love that Alfred is rising other people with him. You know, I just like that shit, man. That's very important.
To the top 5.
You guys know what I'm saying? Chat, you feel what I'm saying? Awful. You dig what I'm saying, man? Let's go here. Okay. It's just, it feels good. That's what I enjoy more than anything, is just seeing like all the bros and then just being compared to like, you know, the first entry, whatever will stooge it. He brings up Disco and first, like, I shouldn't even be brought up. You know what I mean? I shouldn't even be in the same breath.
It's like a new wave of podcasts are rising up, actually. I mean, this is the new, these guys, you guys will be the new Salamonsters and JDs and, you know, these long-standing
post 2.0 NXT.
I'm just trying to be, dude. I'm just trying to have fun. I'm just trying to be the red bar mixed with like old ONA mixed with like Friday night type.
Okay, get rid of the red bar. You can throw that out.
Why, you don't like red bar?
Fuck red bar.
Oh, come on, awful. I thought that'd be your cup of tea, dude.
Nah, man.
I'd be remiss if I didn't give a couple honorable mentions to Marvin the Movie Monster and Pro Wrestling Times. Also,
so here's the thing, though, Alfred, use my other main channel next time. 700.
Look at this guy. See, you can't please these guys. I mean,
no, dude, you can't. I all day I was saying that shit joke.
Baby steps.
On that joke, I was like, "Damn it! He should have showed my other channel where I got way more subs." But that's actually good because I'm trying to get that channel to 1,000 subs. So, shout that out. But and then he called me Pro Wrestling Times. God damn, it's Pro Wrestling Times.
Okay, so we will put it up in your list of grievances when he comes back on.
Damage.
I'm just playing. I just put it over for like a millennia there before I hit play. So I'm just obviously tongue in cheek here. But yeah, this is, I love being mentioned even in the same breath as like the names that get brought up on the top list.
5, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a couple honorable mentions to Marvin the Movie Monster and Pro Wrestling Times. Also, shouts to Chris and Company. Subscribe to their channels because like a lot of AEW haters, these guys are entertaining, they don't take themselves too seriously, and they're funny AF. Let's start with number 5 and keeping it 100. This will be an eclectic list of wrestlers, bookers, historians, writers, and real-ass niggas. Guess which one I am? Keeping it 100 represents the wrestler's perspective of
Orion?
AEW's flaws. It features former WCW stars Conan and Disco Inferno. Keeping it 100 has no problem criticizing both fans and media, which I think is part of the beauty of wrestlers being able to create their own platforms in media these days. Fanalists go so hard at these wrestlers and promotions, but are often left out of being critiqued themselves. Spaces like Keeping It 100 give a voice to the wrestler who can now clap back and talk just as crazy to these people as they do to the talent. Sounds fair to me. Plus, Disco Inferno is in the category of having a Kermit the Frog voice, and he really should have been in that Family Guy cutaway with.
Oh my God, Alfred!
I think it's more Ray Romano than Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
shit,
maybe
you're right.
Man.
Yeah.
God, dude, that's hilarious. Alfred Savage, man, I love it. He's my favorite.
With Kermit, Ray Romano, Al Michaels, and Harold.
Yeah, from the Family Guy bit, he's got Ray Romano, Kermit, Al Michaels. Oh my goodness.
Ramus, because he sounds just like them. Disco be like, AEW and the mark-ass AEW media refuse to criticize Tony Khan because they don't want their access to the AEW snow parties to be revoked. Number 4.
The snow parties. Like, there's way too many people who make those jokes for it not to be true. You know? And we all hear things, but it's like, come on, man. Everyone says it.
I'm not making that joke.
Yeah, I don't really.
You can't wait for me to make that joke. I'll be off the fucking Twitterverse quick.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta get a Patreon started.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, awful. You'll make other. You'll call me redacted, and you know what I'm saying. Make a
we gotta talk off the air, my friend, about that as well.
Okay, so now, sorry, Mariah May, Tony Storm. Mariah May is dressed in like one of those green and black social outcast jackets.
Is Vince Russo, bro? I like Vince.
They're so used to catering to customers they already have. They have totally forgotten how to get new customers. So there's no new people watching wrestling, bro.
Watching wrestling, bro.
Vince hates everything. Okay, maybe not everything, but he's a very tough crowd. And if you've reached the highest of highs of the wrestling business after following it for decades, you'd be difficult to impress too. Ironically, most AEW fans are this way because of the amount of professional wrestling they've watched before AEW came along. This is why Tony Khan feels the need to go deep into the internet wrestling weeds to cater to the impossible to impress hardcores. How's that working for you? Russo has commented on Tony Khan's Meltzerian booking and how Tony's Wrestling Observer training wheels are one of AEW's biggest Achilles heels. He's nonplussed by the AEW big-name signings like Mercedes Moné and Kazuchika Okada. He hated Tony Khan's goofy-ass neck brace the way everybody else did. And if you like a little balance with your haterade, Vince thinks today's WWE superstars are unprofessional and isn't all that big of a fan of Cody Rhodes, which is where him and I differ. You can't come for Cody like that. You cross the line, bro. But I'm not an AEW.
It's photoshopped with MLK and shit. Paul Triantos, my word. With a $10 super chat says, great show, guys, watching from Australia. Another shrimp on the barbie. Just kidding. I'm just trying to be an asshole. Watching from Australia, I've been trying to understand what's in it for Brian Alvarez to be affiliated with Meltzer. You guys get this IWC media thing better than me, so just asking. Dude, I think we touched on it before, but it's the money. Like, they do have a good... Think about, like, let's say 5,000 people subscribe to Meltzer every month. Let's say give them $12.99 a month. 5,000 people. That's probably lowballing it too. There's probably more than that, right? Or
the way that he talks, with the bravado that Meltzer has, even consistently being wrong and never giving us like a firm like stanced opinion on anything, you can tell that they have the money. But I guess with the Alvarez, I lightweight, just to shoot Alvarez a little bit of bail, I lightweight think he's just being a businessman. Like, when he fights back, I think he does it with such like fervor because he probably legit thinks that this shit is stupid, but he knows like business is business. So when he can argue with Dave about it, it's like, oh shit, he gets to live his truth. Like I get to speak freely.
Yeah. And then they get clicks too. And like, but I just ultimately think that they're making a lot of cash. And you got to think too, ad reads, like them being, I think they are like on a radio station and stuff like that as well. So just all of that, it's like, why would Brian walk away from any of it? He can just disagree with Dave and then they leave it on the show. They're obviously friends, they're obviously professional, but what's in it is when Dave is so old and gray that he's not going to be doing any of this anymore, like
Brian will take over the shit.
Brian takes over and then he'll have his guy that he's grooming or whatever, no Diddy. But yeah, so that's what's in it for him. And thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Round of applause. And I have another one from,
who's this guy with Soraya?
That's her brother, Zach Knight.
Oh.
That's her brother. So
Wait,
for
wait,
$5, Dat Boy Quan, yes. That's her bruv.
Why does he look like a dollar store Pete Dunne?
Why the hell are we watching? MJF promo was cringe. The CMLL guys are back. Just lose. And I'm tired of seeing OC in the first match. Yeah, Tony Khan, he doesn't know what to do. And speaking of this show here, like we have this match that was postponed from last week so that Mercedes Moné could wrestle or whatever. They cut this Saraya match. So
that page return is going to do numbers, by the way. Now
when
that
she
she's
comes
been,
back
she's
to
been able to,
WWE,
yeah, oh yeah.
that's her
Now that
home.
she's shown that she can be in the ring, they didn't want to take the risk, but
Yeah.
once she showed that she could be in the ring at a like semi decent level, depending on the opponent. Oh yeah, that return is going to do numbers.
And she's been tweeting out displeasure and stuff. But if you can't tell, Dat Boy Quan, you know, we got disinterested in Dynamite a minute ago during that BCC match. It was just like, all right, it's just everything's too long. All the matches are too long. It's all just, it's too goddamn
Why are we
long.
burying like they're burying Japan because the New Japan champ? Do they even mention, because I had the volume low because we were on here. Did they even mention the fact that he's like NJPW champion? I mean, they're just completely burying New Japan.
Yeah.
And especially because the Best of Super Juniors has been fucking awesome. And now they're just burying CMLL. Like, AAA gets it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Thank you so much for the super chat, though. Appreciate that, and we'll give you a round of applause as well. So back to the greatest AEW hater, which your boy Phil Marks made the list at least as an honorable mention. So let's continue this video.
Use Supermark so Vince Russo doesn't have to worry about me looking up his phone number and calling his house to complain. Not that this has ever happened to me, wink wink. In fact, if AEW hatred was really all that manufactured, it wouldn't attract the entire spectrum of the wrestling business. Think about it. How are Vince Russo and Jim Cornette able to be on the same page about how shitty AEW is these days?
Exactly. That right there. Oh, they're both grifting. No. Fuck no. It's just that I don't know. You like it's somewhere in the middle of we want to be wrestling and wrestling focused, but then it's like so car wreck cheesy phony that even Vince Russo's like, this is too cheesy, and Jerry Springerish or whatever. I don't know if he's ever used that term, bro. But
I think people who know the story about Jim Cornette and his numerous conversations with Tony Khan, I think people should start collecting money for Jim Cornette to pay his legal fees, because I think everybody's going to want to see him break that NDA and talk about what the fuck him and Tony Khan talked about on those phone calls leading up to the advent of AEW.
And say what you will about Jim Cornette, but fucking everything he said about AEW slowly but surely ends up seemingly like it's right. You know, like this whole time. And he's like, I knew it because I talked to Tony. He's like, at first I was like, yeah, I took a meeting with him.
This guy he's seen so many companies come and go over his almost 50 years, of in being in this industry. He knows what's going on. He knows what works and what doesn't work. While there was AEW here, back then there was like 30 companies. And you heard about 15 of them dropping because of the same type of atmosphere that was going on. So it's very easy for Jim Cornette to call this. Not so much for Russo. I mean, Russo hasn't been around that long as far as seeing and experiencing drop-offs and rising. Well, what the fuck am I talking about? He has been, but just only in WCW and with WWF.
Right. Guys, hit that like button. 153 of you in here, and we're at 70 likes. So please, you guys are the best, by the way.
Hit the like button.
Hit that like, though. Get us up to 100. I know there's 30 of you watching. Hit that like, please. More of the truth about wrestling's greatest AEW hater.
They hate each other. Cornette got fired from TNA for threatening to murder Vince Russo. I thought about getting us all together for a real-life version of this dogs playing poker thumbnail, like the AEW player haters ball. But if that happened, Jim Cornette would immediately start barking at Vince Russo. Then he'd bite Vince. Russo would retaliate by pissing all over Cornette's tennis racket. And by the end of that brawl, we'd all have rabies. So fuck that. I don't want the white man's rabies. Do you? Number 3 on this list is easy.
Shit.
Hilarious.
He's so funny, man. White man rabies. I guess I don't know. I'm indigenous and you guys are both black, so I don't know if we're talking about any white man rabies here tonight. I don't know if I've ever caught that. So let's go.
Eric.
What about you, Awful? White man rabies? No, you got to comment on that one. That's gonna get me demonetized, or what?
I love how rabies discriminates.
Bischoff, like Vince Russo, Bischoff is a product.
Sorry, was that Awful?
I said nothing.
Oh, sorry.
You said how rabies discriminates.
Yeah.
Let X tell you, they'll find some way to make something discriminate in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Something piece.
Everybody could get it.
Okay, let's continue here.
Of the Attitude Era. Both of their peak years in the business came during its most successful period based on television ratings and viewership. Bischoff levies many well-crafted criticisms at AEW, but this man really, really hates AEW press secretary Dave Meltzer. Meltzer's never booked wrestling or worked a match in his life, but Sling Blade is perfectly fine stuttering about all of his thoughts of the product over the past several decades. I have no problem with that. Get it how you live. But what I do have a problem with is the hypocrisy.
Get it how you live.
Of Meltzer getting angry at AEW critics like Bischoff and Russo because they, quote, killed WCW and dealt with the same failures in wrestling that just about everybody has when they get into the business. The only difference between Dave Meltzer critiquing pro wrestling and Eric Bischoff critiquing pro wrestling is Bischoff actually accomplished something in the business, and it's something that has never been touched since. WCW's winning streak over Raw was so iconic, there's now a whole podcast about it, featuring Bischoff and one half of the McGuire twins.
AEW has successfully created a product that is designed to appeal almost exclusively to that segment of the audience that only prioritizes great in-ring action, which is why it's flat.
So if Dave Meltzer can stutter his way through an entire career without having actually been in the business, then who the hell is Sling Blade to get mad at anybody who is now criticizing AEW after actually having...
Keeps calling him Sling Blade.
...had a career in wrestling. But if Eric Bischoff is AEW's Malfoy, Jim Cornette is its Voldemort. Cornette has built the most successful platform in all of wrestling by offering his fast-talking opinions about how AEW sucks a donkey's dick, how none of these glorified micro wrestlers will ever get over, how Warner Brothers Discovery and the Turner Networks are wasting their money on an outlaw mud show run by a money mark who overbids for indie talent with his daddy's checkbook or whatever the fuck, and how all the real men in this business have given way to a low testosterone Cirque du Soleil. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye. Corny is an OG.
Let's go, Alfred.
Pro wrestling commentary, and he was a bona fide shit talker before podcasting was even a thing. Cornette's worked shoot rants on WWE Raw were underappreciated masterpieces that were well before their time. How do I know? Because Cornette is essentially doing the same thing via podcasting, and it's bigger than just about anything in wrestling until we're number one in a year or two. Like most popular AEW haters, AEW supermarks have tried everything they can to cancel Cornette, even to the point where they work themselves into a shoot every time a Cornette thumbnail drops. Hilarious. Jim Cornette has been canceled from every pro wrestling promotion he's joined, and they think a thumbnail will be the end of his career? Please. Jimmy Cockroach will be here until he's
Jimmy Cockroach.
ambulatory enough to piss on Vince Russo's grave. He said so himself on Dark Side of the Ring. Cornette is the number one wrestling podcast, but only number 2 on this list, because the number one AEW hater is me.
And you gotta love it. You knew he was gonna pick himself by the way he's putting himself over the whole damn video. And yeah, I don't know, man. Hopefully he dives into it a bit. He pulled the curtain back and explained on PWT podcast. If you guys haven't checked that out, Alfred was on the show and he explained like he used to talk to Tony Khan. He used to interview him. They used to let him talk to all the wrestlers. As soon as he started getting critical, all of a sudden he went to go do a write-up and they had locked him out of, like, they had to change some like whole server password to keep, or, you know, they revoked his right to use these goddamn media pictures that AEW provides. And then he's never gotten an interview again. He's never talked to any of them again. So, you know, it's not that Alfred's bitter. It's just Tony Khan and them got bitter. AEW got bitter towards him. And so, of course, he's going to put himself over here.
So he was the canary in the coal mine, essentially. Yeah. He's the one that straightened everybody out, like Stephanie Hypes and Sean Ross Saps. And, like, seriously, like, that's what it sounds like to me. I don't know how old Mr. Kanua is, or, you know, or how long he's been doing it. But if he's the only one that had to go through this, there might be a few others. But if he's the most prominent one, yeah, that it's enough to spook everybody back into being like, yeah, let's just cape for AEW for the next 3-4 goddamn years.
Yeah. I mean, he's been saying this for a little bit. He was at Wrestling Inc. with Raj and them for a minute, because I first found out about Alfred, I think it was probably like 2020, like in 2019, 2020 or so. So he's been fairly like, even when AEW was good, he's been fairly he's been fair. He's been consistent.
Right.
And Alfred is on the only episode of Kill Tony that Bill Burr appeared on.
Oh, okay.
There's a little trivia. I don't know.
For sure.
Alfred Kanua of Pro Wrestling Bits, the king of all pro wrestling media. You don't have to believe me, but you have to believe that you're the best before anybody else will. And like it or not,
truth. That is true. Right
Big
there.
Facts.
Yeah, if you aren't your biggest goddamn fan, you better be your own biggest fan, man.
You better learn to love it, because we the best, like a DJ Khaled drop. I'm everything you want in an AEW hater. And best of all, I have something that the others on this list don't, and that's the black perspective. Because regardless of what wrestling perspectives are out there, there's always a limitation in not only the black perspective, but black creators being comfortable enough to fully express themselves on their own platform.
And Alfred brought this up on PWT podcast again, not to bring it back to myself.
No, go ahead. Talk your shit, King.
Yeah, but he brought it up and he's like, dude, think about it. Like, look at what NXT is leaning into. Like Jada Parker and Sexy Red and all this stuff. And it's like, and it's true. He's like, black people know what's cool and what's trendy. And you can't argue that. Just look at society, the way people talk on Twitter, the way people talk in general, the type of music we consume.
It isn't Twitter.
The way people literally,
the way people dress, talk. Do you remember that monologue that Cedric the Entertainer had in Be Cool? Mm-hmm. Right before he caps the Russian dude? Like, that pretty much encapsulates it all. Like, we influence American culture as a whole.
I didn't mean just on Twitter. I just mean like the way other people, like, look at how white people talk on Twitter and stuff. You know what I mean? It influences everything. And you can admit that. Like, I mean, how do you not, all the way back to Elvis Presley to today? You know what I mean? Like, black culture influences everything, and especially like what's cool and trendy and all of that. So, I don't know. It's a good point that he brought up, and he dives a little deeper into it here. And some people don't like when people do stuff like this, but it's a perspective. I mean, you can't be, I don't know. I'm listening to anything, you know, I'll listen to any perspective.
That they own. People forget this, but I used to be a favorite of AEW. I interviewed just about all their top talent. I spoke with Tony Khan, and I even covered every week of AEW's destruction of NXT during the Wednesday Night Wars. The WWE side hated me for this, by the way. But after one little video about AEW's lack of black excellence, the AEW stan base exposed themselves for who they really are. AEW insurrectionists basically had a January 6th party on my timeline.
Jesus Christ.
No, he's right. I've seen it. I get similar shit when if I make a comment on certain things, I have bots or random people just make it completely not about this is a Speaking from experience, this is a legit thing that happens.
Awful. What about you? You have any comments so far?
No, I'd like to listen and observe until till the end.
Yep.
Never seen the N-word misspelled so many different ways. This is
I've never seen the N-word misspelled so many different ways.
You'd be shocked.
Shit. That's hilarious, dude.
my timeline. I've never seen the N-word misspelled so many different ways. This is really only the bottom of AEW's fan base, I hope, which is why I still support the product. But it was enough to incentivize me to never hold back when I had an AEW criticism. AEW themselves got so mad at me for pointing out their lack of black main eventers, they changed their password for their media photo library.
Dude, shout out Alfred for telling this whole story on the goddamn PWT podcast and then making a video of like what he elaborated on. Like he tells me all about this, the story, how it happened. If you guys haven't, if you're interested in this, go check out Pro Wrestle Times podcast where I interview Alfred and we dive deep into all of this. And it's really cool. He made a video about this.
Post it in the chat.
2 weeks after. Yeah, I will here. I'll post the podcast as we're watching this, but yeah, it's awesome that it's really cool. If you want a deeper dive on them revoking his rights and all of that, go check out the podcast there because he explains what all went down. This is awesome.
So that I'd have to Google their media photos for my articles instead. Like a child taking toys back from a kid he doesn't like. Really showed me. I've drawn the ire from AEW for leaking the Fast National ratings early, which are typically slightly lower than the final number and sometimes slightly higher. Scandalous, right? My analysis of AEW's lack of black excellence played a key role in people like Swerve ultimately being a world champion, because the only reason WWE took over 60 years to crown a black champion of their own was because they didn't have an Alfred Cunningham to call them out during the era of the Old Boys Network. I'm a living embodiment of everything AEW antagonizes, like everybody else on this list. Charismatic, funny, innovative, doesn't take himself too seriously, and thinks Dave Meltzer is full of shit. I'm not just the number one AEW hater. I'm one of one in everything.
He loves himself, dude. He loves himself. Oh, man. It's you got to, man. You got to think you're the shit. But yeah, and shout out his Meltzer hatering too, because I love that. You know what I mean? I think I got that market cornered there, but with the flute and everything.
AEW slander is just one of the services I offer. I'm also number one in unfiltered commentary about race in wrestling. We're number one in animated wrestling content, number one in pro wrestling documentaries, number one in pro wrestling production, word to Rio and Mav, number one like Bianca Belair in the WWE draft. There's a lot of lanes in pro wrestling, but the diversity of these lanes is what gives the wrestling media life. Yes, there's an anti-AEW lane that does well for a lot of people. The finger-wagging, enjoy wrestling people will cry about it, but fuck all this lane shaming. Just do you. Everybody tries to give people advice to make people more like them. But no matter what your lane is, my only advice is to try to be more like you, unapologetically. Chris Van Vliet is the happy-go-lucky, harmless daytime interview.
Dude, he butchered that name. It's Van Vliet. Van Vliet. Van Vliet. What did he call it?
He gave it 6 syllables. Van Vliet.
It's fair. People butcher his last name all the time.
Right. I know. I call it Van Vliet as a joke. Shout him out.
Interview guy. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That works for him. In the words of Marshall Mathers, Van Vliet doesn't have to write jokes to get subscribers. Well,
Van Vliet, he's adding extra letters in that motherfucker.
It is funny.
Andre Adams for $10. Thank you so much. The only people that have that mustache is Roddy and cult leaders. Are you talking about Roddy Strong? So yeah, the Swerve main event. So we're getting an overrun because there's only 10 minutes left in the show. So, yeah, it'll be great. You know this is about to be a 25-minute match. They just gave Saraya versus Mariah May like fucking 18 minutes or however long.
He wants Saraya to resign, so he's gonna start giving in towards the end. He'll ignore you until your contract's up, and then he'll hand over the keys.
Yeah,
you can stay at my house. I'll leave. I'll get out of my bed and give it to you.
Andre Adams, though, the all-time roast master general of the PWT universe so far, He's always cooking people. But yeah, this match is gonna go a long ass time. And think about Swerve's reign. He got Roddy Strong. He got Nick Wayne. He got who did he get? Like, this has just been so the most transitional, meaningless shit ever, and it's really sad. It really is, man. And I don't know. He'll get the win over Ospreay, and then people will praise it a bit. They'll be like,
people will be angry. It'll be like when Jey Uso won. It'll be like when Jey Uso beat Ilya. It's a move that makes sense, and people will still find some way to fucking hate it. If he beats Ospreay, they'll be begging. They're going to demand that he loses.
He'll beat him at Forbidden Door, and then he will lose it. He's got to lose it at Wembley. But then there's rumors that they want Ospreay versus Okada at Wembley, is like what Tony Khan wants, or something like that. So maybe Ospreay does just beat him at Forbidden Door. Who knows?
They're going to merge those titles then?
Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, shout out Roddy's mustache. This video is almost done, guys. Let's finish it up.
I do, so fuck him and fuck you too, respectfully. But disrespectfully, Cousin Jerry has to scream racial slurs to get subscribers. Well, I don't, so fuck him and fuck his robes. Point is, there's something for everybody in wrestling, even the bigots. I hate that I have to admit that, but yes, you can be a bigot in the pro wrestling space and make a living, just like you could be an alleged predator and still force your way back into WWE. Horrible, I know, but I don't make the rules. The wrestling business is still the Wild West in a lot of ways. And even though every creator gets put in a box, very rarely is that the only thing said creator has to offer. In fact, the only box I want to be inside is your mama's box. What's up? Because if you can grow an
okay, come on now.
audience talking about AEW's whack-ass product, you can grow an audience doing just about anything. I just seen Jim Cornette give his take on the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. Some of our biggest videos have nothing to do with hating on AEW or even AEW in general. You kind of have to be a chameleon to last in the wrestling media. And if being an AEW hater is one of my skin tones, then I'll wear it proudly like the darkest shade of a black fist emoji, because I'm just giving the market what it wants. Check out this video about Tony Khan's intervention and subscribe.
Boom. Yeah. So he nailed it with that last part too. It's just like, I mean, I don't know, dude. The people want flutes. I give them flutes. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like,
man of the people.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm not going to sit here and, but Awful, your thoughts on that video, just overall, to sort of summate that very long segment, starting all the way back with the JD discussion, all through Alfred Konuwa's video here. Your thoughts?
It was a great video. I liked it. I'm a little older than both of you, I'm sure. So with me, the racial aspect doesn't play as much import in my life as it might have others. But I mean, it's great that he's built awareness around it and has brought awareness to it. Him and a few other accounts that I follow, you know, they lean on the racial aspect. I don't mind it at all. But yeah, it's just for me personally, it plays a smaller part in my life than it would with maybe some younger people.
Yeah,
I can see why. I understand. I used to be 33. You know what I mean? I used to be 29 and 25 and the whole thing. But sometimes life gets in the way, and you know, you have other priorities that take over.
Yeah, it's just it's not even something I really try to even like think about. It's the old corny thing. Oh, the content of the character. But I was just raised like you just don't give a shit about shit like that. I just really don't. I really was never. So I was fortunate too. I grew up like around lots of different cultures and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. It's not.
No, but other than that,
I find a huge deal. But what the thing is that people get so mad when people do bring it up, and it's like, but it's a whole other perspective, and just because you don't get that, like I don't get everyone's perspective. Like people have been to war, their perspective on, I don't know, like some law or some might be different than mine. It's nothing to like
see. Here's the thing with,
and
like,
hate on each other.
For example, Swerve Strickland, and I've said this ever since he became champion and even beforehand. He can cry privately to all of his buddies about like how he's not being used properly. We can cry about that, but until that man bangs and knocks on Tony Khan's door and starts, pulling a little bit of his weight to make sure that he gets the best kind of footing on AEW, it's all on you, man. It's all on Swerve. You've got to kick, punch, hoot and holler to get the things that you want in this kind of business.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And
black, white, or candy striped.
Black, white, or candy striped. I like that. Speaking of kicking, or sorry, Marty, you got anything to tag onto that or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Just in terms of that, because I think we're all I think we're around the same age. I know I'm gonna be 36 on Sunday. So.
Oh man, happy early birthday, dude!
Yes,
I'll wish you a happy birthday on the Saturday live stream as well.
Shit, I'll slide through, but at least in terms of my perspective, and just in term and give context, because there's always fucking stupid people
you got to pretext everything.
Yeah, you have to nowadays. I think in terms of the racial aspect being brought up, and I'm speaking as somebody Black and Samoan, and in the wrestling space, seeing the influence in that, right. I see things where people take from the culture or they use it. Kind of example in terms of the Samoan side. I remember. Phil, do you remember when you saw it on X when people were giving me shit because I pointed out the fact that the Uafala, the necklace that Roman wears, and like what that means and how important that is? And I think if Cody knew the context of that, I don't think he would have put it on and took that picture.
Yeah.
Because he's not that type of person. But I heard people say, well, what's the big deal? Why is it you guys are making it about race and making it about this? Which is like a foreign perspective, because when it comes to the Black perspective, the reason why it gets brought up is because people borrow from the culture in various ways, and that's completely okay, whether it be music, hair, the way you dress, all that. But when there's a grievance and it's a justifiable grievance, people cringe and want to run from it, because that takes having to look down and acknowledge it. Right. Nobody wants to talk about that, because most people say, I don't see color, but we'll get on Twitter and say some racist, stupid shit. Right. But then also champion somebody or dress a certain way. So when it gets brought up, it's just like, no, that perspective is valid, because if this other stuff is okay, you need to be able to have those conversations. You don't necessarily get to turn that off. And when he's talking about giving that perspective, it's like, okay, being a minority and a wrestling fan, when people disagree with you, one of the first things they do is make it about race. But if you call something to attention, it's an issue. Oh, why are we talking? You guys are always making it about race. And like some of that, I think a lot of that is some stupid conditioning. And then that kind of mirrors with what you were saying.
They can't get past that threshold of thinking. They're at the height of all of this conversation, there should at the most really be an understanding. Now, forget about being right or wrong, because that's the lane that a lot of people take, and they veer off to the left of conversation and want to be right or wrong. No. Just gain an understanding, and through that, you'll gain consideration, respect, and all the other things that come along with it. But once they know that, like, for example, Marty, you were talking about the Samoan necklace. Somebody who's ignorant doesn't want to hear that. They don't even want to understand it. So that's why it veers off into this, well, why you got to take it here? Why you got to take it there?
It's just a necklace.
It's just a necklace and things like that. And it's just like, okay, even if I were to come at you in the way that Google or Wikipedia does about the necklace, you'd still say that's sort of line of thinking. You're not trying to understand why a certain person feels a certain way. You're just trying to be right over them.
They want to be right. And then the thing is like, okay, a lot of it too is they don't want to have those conversations, because if they're being honest and having those conversations, they have to share some of those views that they try to sneakily put into their tweets and things that they say.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't want to tell on themselves. Yeah, they don't want to tell on themselves. And then it's like in terms of when Alfred brings the shit out, I'm like, it's a valid perspective, because it's a lot of the shit that makes the shit cool. Whether it be a Swerve or whether it be a Roman, whether it be a Joe, these are all things.
And even if I
disagree, that help.
And sorry to interrupt, but even if I disagree with some shit, like it doesn't deter me from. It's not like, I don't know. I still enjoy it.
Don't belittle somebody's experience.
I love it, and I want to hear it. And even if I'm like, well, exactly. And that's the other thing too. People call it race baiting. I say he's just speaking from his experience. That's the way I interpret it, anyways. But here, Scully Vibes is for $10. Goddamn. says, I was playing WWE 2K24 my GM mode, and my WrestleMania 1 spectated a 15-minute Punk versus Cody Iron Man match. Cody won 3-2 for the World Championship, and it was more entertaining than anything on Dynamite.
Dummy, yeah.
Am I the only one? I'm sitting here as we're chatting. I'm watching this Swerve Roderick Strong match, and I'm sitting here going, like, this is Swerve is just doing the same match every goddamn time. It's just him doing his spots. He just has all of his shit that he gets in. It's just like, get the next thing in, get the next thing in kind of.
Isn't that everybody? Isn't that like the majority of the roster?
It is, but it just is too.
For your champion, it's
save
not.
Some of the shit. Stupid. Save some of the shit. Like Undertaker. Undertaker doesn't dive over the top rope every match. You know, like he does that at the big matches. I feel like Swerve's got to like save some of this cool shit he can do for where it really.
Or he's gonna have to kill himself.
Something.
He's gonna have to kill himself during those matches, and then if he gets hurt, then it becomes a problem. But to Awful's original point beforehand, how he was saying like, okay, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Swerve has to speak up, but I think a lot of that for a lot of black wrestlers or minority wrestlers, they're conditioned to how the old ways were. You were booked a certain way. You didn't get to say anything. It didn't matter how much you pushed and kicked. It kind of just got pushed. You know what I mean? It got pushed aside because even then he felt like he should have been pushed better when he was in NXT. So I think that there's probably like an underlying like subconscious fear to speak even when you have the pull. Agreed. I wholeheartedly agree. But I think stuff like that will come with time. And even then, I'd probably say be a positive in terms of giving Tony a compliment, like being that other side and eventually being open. And actually, I don't think Triple H would have that problem in general since he's able to do things the way that he wants. But as long as you have those people that are willing, I think that more people, and as time goes on, especially when they see that they're getting their way with Tony, I think in time it'll balance out.
So also, there's officially an overrun. So it was obvious, but it's overrunning, and this match is still going. So I don't know, man. It's probably 10 more minutes of that. And thank you so much, Scully Vibes, man. You're always here rocking with us. I appreciate you so much.
Shout out to him. That Undisputed Era reunion is gonna hit like crack in the 80s.
It will, yeah, it will, dude. And when I get a 2K24 Scully Vibes, we'll hit it. I just don't have time to game, bro. But when I do, we'll link up, dude.
What system you got?
We'll tag team. Yeah, I like Xbox, but
same.
I don't know. I'm looking to buy I'm either gonna get a PS5 or a Xbox One, whatever the newest shit is. So
let me know which one you get. I might have a code for you.
For sure, but I like Xbox, so I'll probably just stick with that, to be honest. But speaking of needing to punch and scratch and claw, I don't know, horrible transition. But the downfall, this is a tweet I saw, and this is from Last Collision. The downfall of FTR absolutely needs to be investigated, dissected, and chronically analyzed for future civilizations. Holy fuck, that one fan was relentless. And here's FTR just cornball getting booed out of the building on their own Collision show that they can't help but get so defensive over. Here's the crowd treating them the way that, I mean, this is what AEW fans do, dude. They're fickle. But anyways, and I'm an AEW fan, but I call it out. The fickle marks all the time. I'm Phil Marks, damn it. I'm allowed to call it out. Here we go.
I'm 6 feet in the ground every single minute of every single day. You'll have to wonder, you'll have to worry. Is FTR around the corner?
That guy's relentless, man. That's
it's awesome. Crazy. I love it.
His fall from grace has been crazy. Because what was it, like a year ago, 2 years ago? He was the best thing smoking.
Dude, and now it's just people don't give a shit. And he did it to himself. FTR did it to themselves. They wanted that buck match. They got that buck match. It wasn't shit.
Put Wheeler in the Bang Bang Gang.
Because it might not be today, and it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next week. I'm 6 feet in the ground.
One more time. Let's do that one more time.
Every single minute of every single day, you'll have to wonder, you'll have to worry, is FTR around the corner to make your life a living hell? Because it might not be today, and it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next week.
That's not a fire siren. That's
wait. That's a person? Oh my god. Secondhand embarrassment. You know you have to make that a soundbite, right?
Oh, dude, I really, really should, man. I'll keep that one bookmarked. for
Clip
the time
that.
being. Speaking of great sound bites, the feud between Jericho and Sebastian Bach, we come back to this all the time. We of course have a Grammy winner in the house here. Sebastian Bach, one of the goats, and here is and Swerve Strickland retained his title. Here is Jericho. This is one of my favorite clips on the internet of all time.
I look and see it's not just me.
He's so happy.
So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild.
Why the way he like shakes his lips, it's wow.
Drunk
It's like
karaoke at its worst.
it's like a parody. We are the youth go wow wow. It's like, come on, man. Like
Sounds like a radio host.
I'm surprised his neighbors didn't call 911. Like, what's going on over at the Jericho
got red
compound?
his faces too, dude.
On the wall. We are the youth gone wild.
Wow, it's like a guy.
He needs to apologize to Canada.
Nah, dude, we don't claim him no more.
Wow!
Yeah.
Is he on note with that one? Because I don't know the song he's trying to emulate, but
We'll look at the end. Let's see here.
No.
I think he'll. The way he ends. Oh my god, that's one of the greatest all-time clips in the history of Chris Jericho lore and fandom. Here's quickly, I'll show you guys this one. Get your thoughts on this. Overall chat, what'd you guys think about Dynamite? I don't know, whatever. Just an average C show. Didn't really mean much, in my opinion. But yeah, here's Dana White and UFC. We were watching UFC 302 on the last live stream, and someone asked him in the post-fight press conference about WWE. And again, I tried to tell you guys, like, you know, Dana White is going to Dana White. Triple H is going to run WWE. None of that's changing. When we hear the merge, it's just like, yeah, we're going to see representation.
It's the parent company. That's all.
Yeah, and like we're going to see like them represent WWE people and UFC people, and like, yeah, we'll see. We'll get crossovers, but it won't be like this big, like they'll use the Apex. Like they're all the same company now. So it's just, but as far as like, oh no, we're going to get Triple H and to give Dana White some ideas how to run the UFC. Like that's not how this works. That's never going to go that way. And yeah, so
and Dana hates it.
Yeah, here's Dana just commenting on it.
Working with WWE a little more closely over the past couple of months. I mean, you've had so much success with UFC, WrestleMania. They've been on a hot streak too. Have you been able to work with them, learn from them at all, or has it been more?
Oh, sorry.
Separate. You're with UFC and less with WWE.
It's very separate. I haven't worked with them at all. I do what I do and they do what they do. They're using some of the people from my team to help them in different areas, you know, business-wise. But as far as putting on live events, I mean, WWE is very good at what they do, and we're very good at what we do. And, you know, that's about as far as it goes with me.
Working with WWE.
So yeah, I mean, it's just two completely separate entities as far as like, you know, how the business is going to operate and all that. I got let's see, I got one more for you guys here. I believe AEW Neckbeards posted this, and this is from Ringside News.
Love
and
them.
Apparently CM Punk did not want Excalibur to be working on Collision at all. What do you guys think about that?
Who would want him working
Excalibur.
on any announce table in any wrestling promotion?
Has he apologized for those racist comments that he used to do regularly on PWG?
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah, and like they don't. Yeah, of course not. And like again,
that's 70% the reason why he's wearing the mask.
Yeah, people don't like hold people to the same standards. You know what I mean? And like to go on that. Like, so this guy, I'm not all about snitch tagging and being like, let's tear everyone down. But this guy goes, hey, Tony Khan, you compared WWE to Weinstein, but your employee's going to jail for 220 years for being a pedo. Sorry, YouTube. And you let your kicker SA people on your plane have NDA 2 women who were assaulted by wrestlers you hired. Sounds like you were just an incel Vince McMahon to me. So that's this guy's words, WWE troll CEO's words.
Oh, wow. I didn't know about any of that.
But this guy, this Jaguars employee is getting 220
Shout out Gangsta
years.
Bob.
Yeah. In prison sentence for producing child SA material, hacking the Jumbotron, I guess. And is that a part of it? Or is this, I don't know what that's about, but
wait, can I get context on that list real quick?
What do you mean? I
might have forgotten.
Okay, so like he let, so like there's allegations that like the kicker SA'd someone on a plane. You know what I mean? Like one of Tony Khan's, and then he NDA'd 2 women who were assaulted by wrestlers. So obviously referring to the Chris Jericho, Kylie Ray, and the right. So I'm not trying to dig up all this old dirt and be like, bury the.
Oh, no worries. I just wanted the short version.
Yeah. So and then basically he's just going like, look, dude, you want to call WWE Weinstein, but you're doing the same thing. Like like this guy just got 220 years. This is your employee. You know, so I don't know to compare.
He's just being a billionaire.
Like, I know, but it's exactly, but it's like the outrage doesn't exist both ways. You know, like you can see it's always one group getting so outraged about things that they don't put the other way. You know, and that just to tie it to the Excalibur thing as well, right? Like you're like, you know, he said some wild shit, and Cornette said the same shit. And people want to go, oh, this guy's racist. It's abundantly clear. And then, but this guy isn't, or whatever. I don't even, I don't know. It's just, but I wouldn't want Excalibur on my Collision show either. If I was Punk, I wouldn't. I think Excalibur is one of the worst commentators.
Isn't he cool with Cabana too?
Pardon me?
Isn't he cool with Cabana too?
Of course, dude. They're all friends, man. They're all PWG, California, LA.
How Tony Khan did not hire or throw money at Joey Styles is still beyond me. If he was on the very first broadcast of Dynamite, better than Excalibur, way better.
Yeah, but the Bucks made that happen. That was their buddy.
No, like god damn, just a lemming Tony Khan is, man. He don't say no to nothing.
Yeah, man. So NJPW owner Takaki Kadani, NJPW being called a subsidiary of AEW because of talent leaving for AEW. So he just goes, looking at the current situation, it's true that people are saying that we've become a subsidiary or a subcontractor. The weak yen is also putting us at a disadvantage, but there are some differences between our strengths and theirs. They haven't been able to create young talent from scratch, and we have. We are by no means a subsidiary or subcontractor. So, yeah, I don't know, man. This guy, responding.
I mean, they treat him like side chicks.
Yeah, exactly. So he's just basically responding to that notion and being like, no, we're not. And they don't make stars. We do. You know, we make young talent. They can't. So that's some shots fired right there.
Yeah, but if they leave to still go over there, it doesn't matter. You making it for them. It doesn't completely escape the allegations.
So in an interview with Metro, I believe, with Metro, the current Elijah, former Elias from WWE, claimed that he came up with Seth Rollins' Monday Night Messiah character with hopes of portraying it himself. And he just goes on to talk about he comes up with different characters, ways to evolve Elias. He had a real vision for the Pied Piper, the Monday Night Messiah, and they basically gave it to Seth Rollins. And he just said he got kind of set, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, okay, that's how it goes. They gave it to a big
copyright yo shit.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Just wanted to bring it to the show. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Nothing. Not for me.
Nothing. No, I mean exactly what he said.
Yeah. Well, I hope are the flutes being polished in the chat? Do we have the flute? I'm just gonna keep you guys for a couple more minutes extra. You guys down? We're gonna do Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week.
Please, this is the best.
Okay, so guys, we're at 82 likes. Let's get those likes. There's 160 of us watching. We're at 82 likes. I know there's 18 of you fools who will hit like, who haven't yet. Hit like, polish your flutes. I want to see flutes in the chat. And yeah, let's get those likes up. I want them to 100 before we play this flute. So awful Marty, your guys' feelings on Dynamite before we get into Dave Meltzer's moment of the week, and while the chat gets those likes up to 100, what were your guys' sort of thoughts on Dynamite this week? Anything you're excited for? Anything interesting?
Like Collision, it basically just felt like Collision.
Yeah,
Or I would say Rampage, but what's a better version of Rampage? I guess would be Collision.
Yeah, exactly. Or is
Dynamite
it
just
now?
feels.
We don't even.
No, it feels like, you know what it was? It was like watching Thunder.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Awful. What about you, man? Like, how do you feel? Is there anything in AEW redeemable at this point that you think is worth tuning in for every week if you had to choose something?
No, not at all. I will say real quickly that I noticed a stark difference between AEW and WWE. And I don't like to do that on X. I just like to keep it AEW centric as far as my postings and all that. But I noticed that WWE does a beautiful job of pantomime. You can turn down the television or turn the television on mute and understand every promo and every sort of segment that goes on within the context within the body of the show. With AEW, you can't do that because they themselves don't know how to tell a story. They don't know how to reenact real life events. Like it's a shit show on that program. Again, MJF comes out, you're expecting an old MJF, and what does he give you? He gives you shield. I'm happy to be here. I'm gonna roll call. Remember me. I'm still MJF, and that was it. Then he was never seen again. And the promotion for his return obviously was maudlin. It didn't really amount to much. So I'm expecting under 800,000 tomorrow.
Okay. And with that being said, folks, it is time for everybody's favorite segment, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. Yes, the flute's getting over with everybody. A lot of people were like, I used to hate that shit. Now I like it. Okay. So Kevin Kelly, according to Wrestling Observer News, said, I wouldn't treat my worst enemy how AEW treated me. And basically Riccaboni sold him out for him wanting to try and do new creative ideas. And now there's a bunch of people in the fan base calling him QAnon and stuff like that. So, because he supported that movie. That one movie. What do you guys think about that? Kevin Kelly was treated like crap. He was accused of being a far-right weirdo, and Ian Riccaboni basically shoehorned his way into his position, according to him.
Okay, well what's his story? What happened?
Well, basically, he tried to speak out about, like, we need to do this differently creatively, or we should try doing this or that, and he was just shot down, and Ian Riccaboni went behind his back and was like, nah, fuck this guy's whole game and everything he's trying to do.
Damn, so he kicked and screamed and hoot and hollered and got fired.
Yeah, I guess so, and then he left.
He wasn't part of the cool kids. He wasn't part of the cool kids table, so
all right.
You can kick and scream if they love you.
He called out the Bucks for like fucking up New Japan too, and yeah, they just don't like him anymore. So I don't know. No thoughts? Okay, all right. Well, yeah.
I mean, listen. I like the fact. I like the fact that I'll be able to use some of his quotes in the book. But other than that, I mean, it's what we've always known. It's disorganized and it's a terrible, terrible company. And people want it. It's just like, it's the funniest thing. Oh, you want AEW to fail? Yes, because it's a mistake.
Awful. You're so good. So Dave Meltzer was very impressed with Liv Morgan's performance on last night's WWE Raw.
Again,
she was really a star on the show. I want to say I've never seen, whatever. Liv Morgan come across more like a star than she did tonight. I think with Rhea Ripley gone and Becky Lynch gone, they really focused on her, and they're giving her this story with Dominic, which is a challenging story, and she's really pulling it off. Yeah, it's over as shit, dude. It's big time.
This motherfucker got hurt by a woman that looked just like Liv Morgan back in the day. That's the only way I can explain that sort of nonsensical answer. She did okay. She wasn't, She wasn't exceptional, but
She held her own.
Yeah, she's serviceable. As I said I think it might have been on your show, Phil. Like, okay, who else is going to fill that role? She's perfect for that role.
Yeah, I agree, man. What say you, Marty?
Yeah, I mean, she was serviceable. She held her own. She did what she was supposed to do. But to say it was his breathtaking performance and all this other shit, it just sounds like he's shilling.
Yeah.
He's trying to play both sides because he would shit on it.
Well,
that was his thing.
Well, now he shits on another woman from WWE. Dave Meltzer on Natalia's Enough is Enough. It's time for a change line on WWE Raw, and the idea that it could be a teaser for a move to AEW and participation in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Dave, you dummy. It's TNA. We all know this.
Dummy. Yeah.
It's TNA, bro. So she goes, put it this way, seriously, like, why would she tease on WWE TV and slap them in the face like that after all these years, Dave? He puts these little seeds out there and these marks run with this garbage.
Fuck the seeds, though, bro. This is about impressions. Like, no matter what he says, he's going to get some major impressions on X. And that's what this is. Like, it's so obvious. It's just like, let me just say something stupid for the next 12 hours. Say some stupid shit and just watch everybody bite on it. Meanwhile, X pays me a certain amount of money each and every month. I mean, it's a brilliant strategy. I'm not going to hate on it.
It is. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good business in terms of what he's trying to do. But God forbid a Hart family reference. Oh my God.
So Dave goes, put it this way. I seriously doubt that they scripted that. Knowing, Dave, you don't know what they script. You fucking knowing that she was going to jump. That would be pretty cool, though. Her going into the Owen Hart tournament, she actually could do that. Again, I don't expect it or anything, but she legally could do it. Dave, the lawyer, now. Jeepers, man. So Dave talks about other women's wrestling, though, and Barry's AEW here and goes, Meltzer called the match between Thunder Rosa and Reina Dorada on last night's Collision terrible. It wasn't good. It was terrible. Reina Dorada should have never been. She's not AEW caliber. Wasn't AEW?
Thunder Rosa a part of the biggest, their greatest women's wrestling match in the AEW history with Britt Baker?
Yeah.
In a cage.
Yep.
Look at how she's being treated. Like, that is. And again, she is almost like she's like a 1A as far as Jade Cargill. I look at her and I'm like, why is she not in the
Me too. They should have masks with those face paint.
Oh man,
agreed. She's on Busted Open more than she's on TV.
Dude, it's crazy, man. And like, she came back to save Abaddon on Halloween, and then Abaddon's gone, and then now Thunder Rosa is
another one.
Just
people
there.
Talk about how I like, have a problem with things on AEW. No, Abaddon, Thunder Rosa, Willow Nightingale, they're starting to become bigger than the company in business people's minds, because just like, look at these marketable people that they've got over here. We can bring them over here, do this, do that.
Scully Vibes for $2. Yeah. Dave's job is saying the obvious for a living. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Scully Vibes. Thanks for that. And but yeah, man, Thunder Rosa, it is a goddamn shame. Thanks so much for the super chat. It is such a shame, though, about her. And then so speaking of this is a Fightful Select. I guess we'll lump Sean in here this week. Sorry, Sean. But Chad Gable's contract is up Friday. Upcoming Friday. He has factored huge into WWE plans and thus far does not have a new contract. All these people, Dave, with Natalia and this stuff here, they're all being worked, man. Like, all these people are either re-signed or they're just going to go to Tony, to Levy to get more money. And that's all it is, man. They're not putting these people in big angles, going to let them Lex Luger them. They're not going to do that. Okay. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, Gable's contract, I guess, is up in like 2 days and he hasn't re-signed yet. But according to Wrestling Observer, Mercedes Moné's appearance on AEW Dynamite was reportedly the reason the previous announced Saraya versus Mariah May match was moved from last Dynamite to tonight, which we just saw. According to Meltzer, TBS Championship Celebration segment, the match with Sky Blue or both that need for a change to be made. I don't know. Why couldn't it have been, there can only be one women's segment? Like, NXT showing women get over, dude, and can be draws. Like, I don't know. AEW.
We don't make the rules. You know how he treats women in terms of their booking.
Stupid, man.
There's 49 women on the roster of both AEW and ROH. I did the count yesterday. There's 49 women plus Nyla Rose, and also Aubrey Edwards and homegirl Renee Moxley Good. But yeah, 49 women. That's enough to make an entirely new promotion.
I know, like
It's
an all
fucking
women
incredible.
promotion. It's crazy,
Right.
dude. It's insane. But yeah, so we saw that match tonight, and it went extra long. And I tweeted out Soraya's back because I did think she looked really good in there. And I think you guys are right. One day she's going to come home to WWE, and it's going to be crazy. Oh, Phil, you're just a show. I guess so, man. I guess so.
Is it going to be crazy?
Yeah, dude, I think so, because that's
In
like
the short term, yeah.
when she comes and goes, "This is my house," and she comes back, it's gonna be
When she's Paige, yes, it'll make, and then they'll be able to play off of all the old history, and then she'll be marketed better. Like it'll do. Like I don't think a lot of the people, like her, Cole, a lot of the people coming back in the short term, it's going to do great, and overall for their careers, it's probably a better way to end it. It'll be better for their bodies,
and
their
who
booking
better,
their bodies, and all that.
who better could teaching in NXT than Paige, like how to be a young, because they're like recruiting young talent like Javon Evans, and like even on the women's side, it's like who better to help coach and teach that one day as well than Paige, like how to be a young
Phil,
girl navigating the business.
Again, do you need Saraya doing that? What's the upside for having Paige come back?
She did it, man.
Well,
What's
other
the
than
upside to The Rock made a whole goddamn movie about her life.
Comeback, because comebacks make a difference in wrestling, even if it's just in the short term. It's good. Like in the short term, it's going to be the money and the attention is going to be good, and then it's just it works better for them long term, just as performers. So it's not going to be groundbreaking. It's not going to be groundbreaking, but you're going to be able to take away from Tony. You're going to be able to prove the fact that even when you're using them not to their past calibers, it's still going to be 20 times better. Like the precedent that'll set and what you'll be able to say without actually having to say it. So it'll be like a second gut punch, and the money in the short term will be good. But is it going to be anything great? Oh yeah, I had to throw that in there. But it's like it's not going to be like it's not going to move the needle. There's only but so many people that can do that. But who doesn't love a good return? There's plenty of people that everybody pops when they first come back, and then they kind of fade into obscurity, or they're
like
just not
Carlito.
used all okay. Yeah,
Carlito, yeah. Well, speaking of popping the ratings and the comeback, Cody Rhodes, our last bit here, and this is a Dave Meltzer smart moment of the week. Wah 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 wah. Cody Rhodes outside of the ring is everything. Like he is one of the best baby faces they've WWE, of course, Gotham City ever had, and he's drawing like it too. Look, his numbers are bigger than Cena's. I mean, that would make him like whatever. Tony Khan, the biggest, most Brian, the biggest, most successful babyface since the Austin Rock era. Shout out Cody Rhodes for that. And at least Dave can be truthful and objective enough to admit that. I'm sure it triggered some people who will say
that clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And I, even though when Dave is right, we still cover it because it's not about him being right or wrong. It's just about the way he talks and spells and says things and the mannerisms. And that, folks, was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. Okay, I'd like to thank my esteemed guests for being here this week. I would like to thank the PWT Universe for being here this week. Shout out everybody who listens to the show. And yeah, we'll be live again Saturday, I guess. I was thinking about doing Sunday for the NXT Battleground thing, but I don't know. I might just keep it Saturday. Who knows? But regardless, Awful Wrestling, thank you for joining me tonight. Why don't you let the good folks know what you have going on and where they can find you and all that good stuff?
AEW FUL Wrestling on Twitter, and people are trying to talk me into a Patreon or YouTube channel. So be on the lookout, I guess.
Yeah, let me help you with that, man. I want to help you grow and
speak
just build it up for the
Phil,
book,
but
man.
then you never answer. You don't answer me.
I do. God damn it. I'm
We'll
a
see about
busy
that.
fellow. Yeah, we will. We'll get it popping all about I'll pitch you. I'll pitch you how this could all work. How about that? I'll lay out a plan. Marty McFlyer than you. Where can the people find you? Soft by Lucky Day is out now everywhere. Another banger. I'm not gonna play it because the last time the stream gods didn't like that I was playing your shit.
Yeah, I have no control over that. You know, I would
know
have
you don't.
but
I know you don't. But two-time Grammy winner. What else do you got going on in your life? And where can the good people find you?
Was just in the studio yesterday and the day before, taking care of some stuff. Can't announce that yet, but I'm quite excited about it. Might put us in the standings for well, it will put us in standings for Grammy submissions for next year. So
Yes.
already on the hunt for the next one with that. Yes, excited about that. Shout out to my daughter. Her 8th birthday is tomorrow. So if you're listening, please turn up. And then you know what I'm saying, you can find me on Twitter, M_McFlyer, then you. And it's THAN. I don't know why I have to keep saying this. Then and then they mean two different things.
Yeah, people don't know
That's-
fucking grammar, dude. People don't know
Oh
their
my
dues. They
God.
don't know. They're there.
It's the same thing on Instagram, Marty_McFlyer than you. And I'll probably just be on there talking shit and unintentionally pissing the incels off.
Yeah.
Round of applause for my guests here. Man. You guys are the absolute best. The PWT listeners are the absolute best. This new mic is the absolute best. I like the setup better too, guys. It's awesome. Thank you all for being here for another eclectic edition of PWT Live Show. I am Phil Marks, and I am out of here. You already know. Subscribe to the channels at Pro Wrestle Times, at Pro Wrestle Clips. Let's go.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. We'll see you on the other side. Peace.
Peace.